California, what's going on? This is Hour 1. Schaefer and Sliwa on a Thursday afternoon, a Padres off day. What could go wrong? We've got you covered for the next 3 hours. We're talking SDFC, Alan, before the MLS break that's coming up this weekend. Max Bretos will join us from Apple TV at 3:30. Annie Heilbrunn from the UT, such a good voice. Today. It's a very busy day. Mm-hmm. Annie, of course, such a great voice in all things San Diego sports, including Padres. She'll join us at 4:30. John Wilner, Bay Area News Group, has been all over the saga between the Pac-12 and the Mountain West and the latest in college athletics. He will join us at 5:30. Plus today, Alan, we are giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair that we all need to get to this summer. I'm talking about the whole show. We're getting Brent's going out there, me and you, our listeners. We're going to give away a 4-pack of tickets coming up.
We're going to do 2 things so far this summer that we got lined up.
All right, what do we have?
We're going to do the San Diego County Fair, Del Mar Fairgrounds.
Yep.
And then we're also going to do a poker night.
I'm down.
Because I kind of saw when we were talking about it, you were like,
I'm ready.
Yeah, and you put your sunglasses on too, and you turned towards me.
You saw that?
Like, John, this is unnecessary.
Put on my bracelet.
We haven't played anything yet.
My rings.
You unbuttoned 2 of your shirts. You're
going to bring a briefcase with cash. I'm excited to do that. We'll give away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Here's what you need to do if you want to win those tickets.
If you've been listening, you got a good idea all week already.
The question today is, when we say Fernando Tatis Jr., what's your immediate reaction right now? Take it wherever you want to go.
Wherever you want to go.
Wherever you want to go. Open the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click the talkback microphone. Tell us what you feel or think right now about Fernando Tatis Jr.
You can demolish him. You could encourage him. It doesn't matter what you do. You could, anything you want to do. You could say, I got faith that this man is going to turn it around. You can offer to trade him if you want, whatever you want to say.
All right. So, Toddy, we'll start there, and we'll take your phone calls on that as well, by the way. 877-767-4760. That's 877-767-4760. But if you want to qualify for the 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, you need to do it through the talkback mic on the app. There's a bigger story than Tatis's last night. It's the status of Jackson Merrill, but all of the headlines are Fernando Tatis Jr. It boiled over again last night, Alan. It's happened multiple times this year. He grounds into an inning-ending double play with the bases loaded, and he did it after Freddie Fermin had drawn a walk and after a meeting at the mound, and then the first pitch he sees thrown by Shohei Ohtani, he rolls over on and grounds into a double play, and it's just another data point of the struggles that Fernando Tatis Jr. is dealing with. Do you still
get excited when he comes up?
I do not. Unfortunately, I was earlier in the year, but I've lost that. I'm now like expecting what is happening to happen. So unfortunately,
I don't text you very often during a game.
Right.
And yesterday I texted you immediately after.
Did you text me first or did I text you? Because I forgot. I think you texted me.
I think I texted
and
you.
I immediately wrote back.
I texted you right after. Let me kind of give you where my reaction is. So he came up. I'm at the game. Game 2 against the Dodgers a couple days ago. 9th inning, 2 outs, down 5-4. Tatis comes up, and I was trying to explain to you. I'm like, hey, people are getting up. Like, there's an excitement. And even if he's yet to hit a home run this year, I'm sure there's a Dodger fan out there like, I'd prefer Tatis not up. I'd prefer somebody else up at the plate rather than Tatis. I still kind of fool myself. And I'm not 100% sure why I fool myself. But I'm still fooling myself. Yesterday, when he comes up with the bases loaded,
here we go.
Fermin does his job. The back part of the Padres lineup does their job, right? You get the bases loaded. It wasn't all your power guys. It was kind of some of the other guys that get it set up. And Fermin, who, if it wasn't for all these other guys that have really struggled, Fermin, we would talk about how awful his average is. And this is a player that you traded for. He draws a walk on Shohei Ohtani, and here comes Fernando Tatis Jr. Brother, I got excited again. And I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why I got excited. But before I can sit there and just kind of enjoy and embrace the moment and say what could possibly happen right now. By the way, I'm not asking for anything. I'm asking for, let's work the count a little bit. Maybe you get Shohei out of the game. Maybe you slap a base hit. Like, let's take our time and not let Shohei just obviously let him escape from the inning. Why do I get up and I still get excited? I can't tell you. But 6 seconds later, the inning is over. Yeah, he doesn't take one pitch.
It's one thing. He doesn't have to, in my opinion, he doesn't have to take the pitch. It's the pitch that he swung at that makes it the most damning part of it. It was a pitch that wasn't in the zone. It was a pitch that he shouldn't have been trying to pull, that he did try to pull. Like, and by the way, in terms of, I'm with you. I don't need to see a grand slam, but I do need to see something more than what I saw.
I just want to see a good at bat.
You can't be grounding into a double play in that spot on the first pitch.
But I want to go back. You said you don't have a problem with him taking the first pitch.
No, I don't have a problem with him swinging.
I mean, you don't have a problem with him swinging at the first pitch. Explain to me, justify to me why.
Why?
Because, and I want you to explain it off the predicament for Fermin just walking, and that the dude holding the bat is Tatis and it's not somebody else.
Well, on one hand, first, it is Tatis. So you have to give him the
look. I
agree.
You already told me it's not.
You're right. I'm not disagreeing with you. So I'll talk it through with you. On one hand, it is Tatis, and you have to have a general belief that he is still at least a capable hitter, even if he's not a power hitter. The point about him having walked the number 9 hitter before is a very valid one. There is an argument to be made to make sure he throws strikes before you settle into this at bat. However, there is a belief in baseball. There is a belief in baseball that when facing elite starting pitching, you may not get more than one good pitch to hit in a sequence. Here is the problem. The pitch he swung at was not the good pitch to hit, right? That was the issue. If it's a middle cut fastball, I don't want him taking the pitch, truthfully. He should not be taking get me over fastballs from opponents. He shouldn't. The problem is he didn't, I don't know what he swung at. Breaking pitch away.
I'm gonna give you my suggestion. He could have lobbed this 67 mile per hour just right in the center of the plate. And if I'm Fernando Tatis right now at this point,
don't swing.
Can I take a damn pitch?
But you were just saying you had faith in this guy. Now you've been fooled by him.
What I said is I still have this, like, I don't even have faith, but I have this, well, it is Tatis.
Right.
It's not faith. It's like I see the name. I don't know. Give me it's like a company that went under. And
Blockbuster.
Maybe more recent, right? And it's like
it's the only one I can think of.
It's like the brand at one point you're like, oh,
Enron.
That brand. Enron.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if I have the right example, but I was just wildly frustrated.
That's fair.
That here's somebody that has done nothing all season. Again, nobody's asking him to hit the ball 400 feet and get a grand slam when Padres are up 4-3, because we know that, at least at this stage, that's not something that's in the cards for him. But why I was so frustrated is, again, Fermin just walked. You felt like you kind of had Shohei a little bit on the ropes. Shohei didn't give up a run yesterday, but Shohei also wasn't perfect. They had opportunities. And it's just, again, 6 seconds later, it's like I start getting excited, and Tatis was like, guys, I want to make sure that any Padre fan out there that has any faith, I'm going to ruin it.
Yeah, it was very frustrating. It was very, very, very frustrating. It reached this boiling point. I knew it would. I knew if what played out yesterday played out in that fashion, people would absolutely lose their minds. From Shohei Ohtani leading off the game with a first pitch home run, to Tatis not coming through in the clutch, to the Dodgers winning another series against the San Diego Padres. It had all the makings of what Padres fans did not want to see at all. And it played out right in front of our eyes, from the first pitch of the game to that moment with the bases loaded with Shohei Ohtani on the mound. Those are those classic indicators of, like, that's the last thing you wanted to see.
But I think they're separate. Like, you wanted to bring up the Tatis conversation in itself. That, to me, is not connected with the rest of the game, and it's not connected with the rest of the series, which is probably unfair to say. But as you know, the show goes, we could talk about what we thought about how the Padres did against the Dodgers in that 3-game set. But you brought up the question about Tatis, and there have been a few times so far this year where I'm like, yeah, it's not going to get any lower for Tatis. This man is very creative in finding a way for it to get a little bit lower. And listen, I mean, look, maybe I'm critical, maybe I'm not, but I think you got the entire city of San Diego that's looking at this guy. Not only is he getting paid what he's getting paid, put the money to the side for a quick second. He looks so lost. And I don't know what the solution is, and it doesn't sound like anybody knows what the solution is. But a freaking month ago, we were talking about how the man hasn't hit a home run. Put the home run to the side. Nobody was asking him yesterday to hit a home run. At the absolute worst, bring one run in. Like, just can you do something productive in that situation? And like I said, that's 2 games in a row. 5-4 down to the Dodgers a couple nights ago with 2 outs. He's at the plate. Was it the first pitch as well?
I think it was. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't you stop swinging at the first pitch? You're not dialed in right now to where all of a sudden it's like anything that I get, I'm going to connect with.
It's frustrating. I mean, whatever it's going to take to get out of this slump, he has clearly not figured out. Let's go to the phones here. 877-767-4760 if you want to weigh in. 877-767-4760. It did boil over, I thought, last night. Again, with Fernando Tatis Jr. in a loss. Let's go to Brock in Cardiff, who's on with us here.
That's a pretty good area. That's a pretty
beautiful area, especially on a day like today. Brock, thanks for calling in to Schaefer and Sliwa.
It's a perfect day up here in Cardiff. We know it's not a perfect time for Fernando. This is an absolute nightmare, guys. I haven't heard anybody talk about this, but I've been watching a lot of games, and what I'm noticing is we all know in the big leagues, after 3-4 years in the league, the analytics show what you can't hit. They have found his kryptonite. Guys, it's the slider away. He's not seeing the spin on the pitch. They're starting it off on the outside corner. It's sweeping away. He's not seeing the spin on the pitch, and he keeps on trying to pull the ball. He needs to start going to the opposite field.
Go with it.
And you can just see him up there in a panic. He should just sit on slider away because they're just working him, and he just can't hit the pitch, guys.
Appreciate it, Brock. I mean, the funny thing is he actually has displayed a level of patience this year. 20 walks, 200 plate appearances. He sees pitches. His on-base percentage is way higher than his batting average.
How many extra bases he has this
year? He
has
6 extra base hits, which is obviously as bad as it gets for 2 months into the season.
He has 6 extra base hits.
How many home runs of those 6?
Brother, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
Fernando Tatis Jr. Freaking Fernando Tatis Jr. has 6 extra base hits all season. We're not that far away from getting into 2 months of the season.
But here's the other thing too. Like we keep saying Tatis, like you said, I get a feeling like it's Tatis. We all have been somewhere in life where you see something and you're like, oh, I remember what it used to be. Like you might have looked at like a Bulls uniform back in the day and held it in this high regard. Now, well, I've watched the Bulls for the last 25 years. Yeah, but he hasn't done anything of
but think about the point you're trying to make would be the equivalent of like, hey, that dude's 35 now.
I know
he's not doing what he used to do.
You and I agree. Here's the problem. And I've said this a lot, and I'll say it as bluntly as possible, and we can hear from Craig Stammen on the other side. I hate to put it this bluntly, and he's going to be good again. I just don't think he'll ever be consistently great again.
Craig Stammen?
No, Fernando. He'll be good again. He'll be good again. That. But he is damaged goods. He is damaged goods. And that is the issue with Fernando Tatis Jr. When you break a leg, when you don't have your wrist set, when you tear your shoulder, when you have it repaired, when you have the suspension, you can't get back to who you were.
But I think the issue with that is I don't think anybody's asking him to be. I mean, of course, it would be great. You're back to the guy that was hitting 40-plus home runs. We're asking him to hit 25.
The funny thing is, though, we'll talk about it on the other side. I'm asking him to be the player he was. Unfortunately, he's gotten so far from it, I'm willing to settle. But I want him to be the player he was. That's who they're paying him to be.
Yeah.
Let's hear from Craig Stammen on the other side. We're going to talk some SDFC coming up at 3:30. Annie Heilbrunn at 4:30. Get the talkbacks in. When we say Fernando Tatis Jr., where does your mind go? Open the app, search for 760, click the red microphone icon. Schaefer and Sliwa live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, San Diego Sports 760 has 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday with the Bonus Bucks contest. Listen every hour, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. Listen for the nationwide keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. Your next chance to win $1,000 coming up soon, so make sure you stay right here at San Diego Sports 760.
We're getting to the talkbacks, so get your opinion in on Tatis. When we say Tatis, what do you feel? What do you think? You can go anywhere with it. Open the iHeartRadio app, search for 760, click the red talkback microphone, and we'll play them. Let's hear from Craig Stammen, though, on Tatis' struggles, right? Because Craig Stammen was teammates with Fernando Tatis Jr. He understands what it's like to struggle, not as a hitter, but as a professional baseball player. So let's hear from Craig Stammen. Is this on the pressing of Tatis? This is Craig Stammen on if Tatis is pressing right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Natural for anyone to press when they're trying to get out of a slump. I think we're seeing that from a couple guys. And, early swings and swinging at a lot of things that they don't normally swing at. It's tough. This game is a mentally tough game. And, especially when you're struggling, you want to get out of it so fast. And sometimes the opposite is true of how you want to need to get out of it. And so, it's up to us coaches to talk to Fernando and be able to pat him on the back and try to teach patience to him and preach patience to him to help him get through this struggle, probably the biggest struggle that he's had in his major league career at the plate.
Really good answer. Good perspective. He agreed with a lot of what you're saying. Sometimes when you're pressing, you're trying to do too much early in a sequence, which he clearly did in that spot. It was not a good pitch to swing at, plain and simple. No count, 2-0, 1-1, so on and so forth. Brent, what's the stat you had on Tatis? It basically is that Tatis has actually been a really good first pitch swinger in his career, right? That's what it proves.
When putting the first pitch in play in his lifetime, he has a .416 batting average. He's 112 for 269, so he's got a decent amount.
Pretty good.
He says he's slugging .784, and he's hit 26 home runs when he connects on the first pitch.
It's awesome.
That's off AI, so awesome. Take it for what it's worth.
When I was 28, let me tell you, I used to be able to run further than I'm able to now.
When you were 28?
Yeah. My point is that he's not the same. You know what I'd like to see in that stats? And again, this is just me talking. What's it look like this year? Because like you said, let's go back to let's go back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier. And I think there's circumstances here. And do I think the Padres lost the game just because Tatis ground into a double play? Forget the game. To take the L against the Dodgers. They lost the series 2-3, and frankly, they didn't play good enough in the last 2 games to win that series. So it is what it is. We're isolating Tatis. When you're struggling as much as he is, when Freddie Fermin just walked, Shohei walked Fermin. Of all players on the Padres, obviously Shohei was having a little bit of trouble at that stage of the game. Can you just there's a little bit of pressure on Shohei Ohtani. Do you have to, if let's say that was Gavin Sheets in that situation and Sheets swung at the first pitch because Sheets has been killing it and you got confidence in Sheets. He ain't Sheets right now. He's one of the worst baseball players right now from an average perspective, home runs perspective. He's not the same Tatis that he used to be. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying more the predicament of that situation is what I'm referring to.
I agree, but here are the sheer numbers this year. Tatis first pitch swinging. 14 for 36, 389 with an 861 OPS.
When he connects?
Yeah, because exactly. You can that only counts. Well, all of these counts. 1-0 count when you put the ball in play. 2-0 count when you put the ball in play. 1-2 count when you put the ball in play.
Right.
Whatever the end result
but obviously
is.
what it's taking also into what it can't take into consideration is how many pitches he swung at first pitch and let's say he missed or something like that.
True. And that's the difference of the 2-strike count, because the 2-strike count, when you don't put a ball in play, you're out
100%
because you swung through it.
Yeah.
But anyway, when he puts the ball in play first pitch this year, he's hit 389. I agree. I was sitting there yelling at my television too because I was just upset at the general spot predicament he is in.
Yeah, that's all. I mean,
which has put the team
I'd have
in.
to keep harping on it.
But when the bases are loaded and you swing at that pitch and you ground it to that double play, it's just every emotion in the world comes up. And I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of Padres fans that remember when Fernando Tatis Jr. was considered like the most toolsy player in baseball. 5 tools. Now he's not. It doesn't seem like he's as fast as he used to be. He's been caught stealing as much as anyone in the game. He leads baseball in caught stealing. He doesn't have the tool of power. He's not hitting for average. You know what tool he has? He's a really good defensive player. He is. He's an excellent defensive player, but it's like he's not here just to be a really good defensive player. He's here to be the player I saw in 2021.
I want to, make sure, again, I'm going to say this again. They don't lose that game yesterday just because of Tatis. And Duhar grounded into a double play when there were men at the corners. Manny Machado with a guy on third pops out. Xander Bogaerts had a couple of guys on. He didn't come through. There was no other offense for the Padres. They went down 1-0 after the first pitch because Shohei took one, obviously, to center where Jackson Merrill injures himself. They didn't lose the series because Fernando Tatis grounded into a double play with the bases loaded and 1 out. But the Tatis conversation, you said it when we started the show, it's boiled over. It's impossible now to have a conversation about the Padres without bringing that up. They lost 2 or 3 because the Dodgers were better than them in those 3 games. The series, the world's not going to end. I think, to me personally, I'm more surprised that the Padres win 2 or 3 from the Dodgers than lose 2 or 3. For those that are, oh my God, here it is again, all that, to be honest with you, there is no connection. There should be no connection between what the history of the Dodgers has been and these 3 games that they just played. I know people are going to connect them. I know it's natural to do so, but it's impossible to not have any conversation about the Padres right now without starting with Fernando Tatis Jr. because of what he's been doing.
Yeah, it's super frustrating. And you'd like to think if he did come through in some of those spots, they would be winning games like yesterday's game against the Dodgers. All right. Let's talk about SDFC without talking about Fernando Tatis Jr.
Might bring it up.
On the other side with Max Bretos. He covers soccer for Apple TV. SDFC has their final match before the World Cup break against Vancouver this weekend at Snapdragon. He'll join us next. And Annie Heilbrunn will be on the show at 4:30 with more of the Padres and Tatis. Plus, we'll get to your talkbacks coming up this hour as well on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by the California Department of Boating and Waterways. The Padres are off today. They start a weekend series down at Petco Park tomorrow night against the A's. In NBA news, the Thunder's forward Jalen Williams is going to be listed as day-to-day with a hamstring injury. We have Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight with Cavs taking on the Knicks. The tip will be a little after 5 o'clock. And in sad news, NASCAR icon Kyle Busch has died at the age of 41. He was hospitalized as a result of a severe illness. Whether you're on the lake or the river or on the bay, when you hop on board for a day on the water, make sure everyone's on board with wearing a life jacket. Life jackets save lives. Get on board. A message from the California State Parks Division of Boating and Waterways.
All right, SDFC for a final time before this World Cup break, hosting Vancouver on Saturday at 6:30. You can hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. Of course, you can watch it on Apple TV, and Max Bretos from Apple with us right now on San Diego Sports 760 in America's finest city. So, Max, we appreciate you taking time for us. Obviously, we know Vancouver has played very well this year. It feels like SDFC has left so many points out there, so to speak. They've had so many late leads that they've relinquished. How do you see SDFC at this point heading into this break? And thanks for hopping on.
Oh, great to join with you, John Allen. Looking forward to heading down to San Diego. This is actually a really big game. I mean, it's a rematch of the Western Conference Final from a year ago. And Vancouver's playing great. And I got to say, San Diego's, I've watched most of their games. They've played well, but unlike last year, where in the margins they were getting results, they were scoring goals late in games to get wins when they were going to get a tie, or get a tie when they were going to get a loss. It's completely flipped. You look at the data, and specifically in this, it would have to be a gut-wrenching setback against Cincinnati, where they score in the 95th minute, only to get an equalizer moments later on the very last kick of the game. So it's a bad habit. It certainly is. But on the surface, when you're seeing a team that's taking a dip like San Diego, you don't really see it when they're playing. I mean, they have had some injuries and they're a little thinned out, but just watching them, they pass the eyeball test. The problem is that they're not finishing off games, and it's one after the other. And again, bad habits are habits for a reason, and you've got to kick that habit, whatever it is. And I think San Diego have to. But talking to Mikey Barris and that team, I think they're, and Major League Soccer can be pretty forgiving. And I think that's one of the good qualities here, because it allows these teams to recuperate. And what a great spot to do it here with the World Cup break looming. It's not full on panic by any means because of the way they're playing, but it would be really good for them to see if they can get some result here. I mean, all 30 MLS teams are playing this weekend, and all of them want a good result before they break for 6 weeks. You don't want that to be sticking in your craw for that duration.
Yeah, and it's a good point, because you're right. Everything that seems like that could go wrong with SDFC has, and sometimes that can last an entire season. Hopefully for them, it's just the first third of the season or so. I'm curious to get your thoughts, just where they are. Can you put in context they're 10th in the standings right now based on how they've played? And like you just said, it's no reason to panic at this point. How should San Diegans feel of where they're sitting, and obviously how much time to make up some ground?
Yeah, like I said, being in 10th place, you shouldn't be happy about it. But based on the way they're playing, there is reason for some optimism. It's a big drop-off. And look, what they did last year, and we all knew it at the time, is that, this is something unique and historic and probably not sustainable to be a first-year team. I think something that's in play here as well, and we all knew this was going to come, and it happens so much in our league with expansion teams or teams that retool themselves. I would take a look at San Jose Earthquakes. They've retooled. They've brought a whole new group of players that they're relying on, and no one can really figure them out. No one really figured out San Diego. They're being figured out a bit on the way they can play. But that said, they're still playing the way they want to. I mean, they still are very progressive. They connect a lot of passes. They get a lot of possession. They're getting chances. And I think just defensively, there's some work to be done. And, if I was a San Diego fan, I'd be frustrated for sure because of the season you had. But it doesn't feel like this team, the way I've seen it. And look, I would tell you, I would give you the 4-1-1 on this, and then say, yeah, this is not great. Obviously, they have the Chucky Lozano situation, but I don't really feel it. I think they compartmentalize that, and they're getting good performances from some players like Marcus Ingvartsen, and it suggests that they should be close. But this is a very finicky sport. The results could keep going against you. And they kept going for them last season, so maybe it's a process of evening them out. But to answer that question in a shorter form, I feel this is still a top 5 or 6 team, and they should be buoyed by the fact that they have a very ambitious ownership. They have an incredible built-in system to develop young players, which no one really has, but maybe 2 or 3 teams. That it should end. I would be surprised if they're in 10th. I think they would be somewhere in the worst case scenario, 5th or 6th. And look, the season's up. Everyone's got 20 games to go, so the standings could look very different by the end of the summer.
Max Bretos with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa. He'll be on the call on Apple. Again, you can hear the game right here on San Diego Sports 760, Vancouver, and SDFC. What do you expect the impact to be of this World Cup stoppage on Major League Soccer when it resumes? As in, some of the teams that are playing really well probably don't want to stop. Some of the teams that maybe haven't played as well, maybe they'll be rejuvenated on the other side of it. How do you think it impacts the league?
Well, it wasn't that long ago where the league didn't stop, and it was very weird in the middle of the World Cup where all the soccer eyes are on there. I mean, right. It did not... It didn't. It was universal. Everyone, whether you're in England or all eyes on the World Cup. So to have a soccer league going on while it was a little bit odd. I understand it because it's about getting fans. Fans would come out to the stadiums, but the reality is, in a World Cup like this in your backyard, it would have been a bad choice. So it's great that the league is doing it, and they're doing it for like 6 weeks. So I think it's a tough. There's a lot of teams, and I think San Diego and Vancouver probably amongst them. Vancouver, for instance, can't really play. They're on a big road trip. They can't play in their stadium because it's a World Cup venue, and it's going to be kept busy for as long as Canada is in it. So they're going to be kind of nomadic. So I think a lot of these teams are going to welcome it. It's already been a pretty grueling season. I mean, it's not perfect, but even the teams that are doing well, so like Nashville, Vancouver, San Jose, I think they're going to welcome it. And it's a rare chance to have a summer off for MLS players. I work in Major League Soccer. I mean, I'll be pretty busy with the World Cup, but we never have summer off. You never get to do, see with your kids, go fishing or whatever it is. So they can do this. They're going to get 3 weeks off by and large. And then they'll ramp up, and it really is going to feel like a different season. You're just going to pick up the points that you left off. But I think that's how teams are going to approach it. They go, hey, this is the second half of the season. Wherever we are, if we're in the top of the standings, we obviously have some leeway. But teams in the middle and the back are going to approach it as a real blessing. But the other thing is, many of these teams, if not all of the teams, are going to look very different because the whole idea is the post-World Cup. This is a great chance for this league and these teams to keep that rub of new fans, and they're going to be new fans. To get them to come to the games, to get them to watch on Apple TV, and that includes going out and signing players, bringing in new players. So it's going to feel fresh and new. So I think there's a couple teams that probably wish they could keep playing if they're in good form. But I think if you ask everyone secretly, the idea that they can get a couple weeks off, and look, these are athletes; they're not going to take 3 weeks off. They're going to stay in good shape. But for a week or 10 days to spend with their family and friends, I know they're all looking forward to it. It's actually pretty cool when you think of it. I hope they can all enjoy it.
All right. Hopefully it benefits SDFC. Max Bretos, Apple TV, obviously SDFC taking on Vancouver coming up on Saturday. Max, we'll ask you, is Vancouver the best team in the Western Conference? I know San Diego State obviously faced them last year. They get all the way to the finals. They lose to Miami. Give for those who haven't got a chance to watch them this year, a little bit of an idea what to expect on Saturday.
Well, one thing I forgot to mention about the World Cup, there are going to be players in MLS that are going to be participating in the World Cup, so they may not be all fresh as a daisy when we come back. But that's Vancouver for you. I think San Diego has CJ Dos Santos, who's we call him the backup goalkeeper. He's going to be with Cape Verde. And then there's another player for San Diego Annie Heilbrunn, who played for Panama. Quite frankly, Panama is not going to be at the World Cup for a long time. They'll probably not really get through the group stages. Vancouver's got 3 or 4 guys, and they've done such a nice job I think they're the best team in the league. They've been the best outside of Inter Miami last year. They've really been the best team over 2 years. They have a really, and this is why I'm also excited about this game. San Diego, Vancouver. In soccer, sometimes it's very hard to have a team that is successful and entertaining. Both these teams are entertaining and successful, although San Diego have hit a bit of a blip here. But it's such a breath of fresh air because inherently they want to play they don't want to be entertaining. They want to play an attractive style of football because they find it successful. So that's what makes this game so good. Somehow Vancouver has managed to do both over these 2 years. They got a great Canadian core. They got good young players coming through. They have found good South American players. Andres Cubas is one of the best players at his position. And they're finding new players everywhere, sometimes that have been kind of set adrift, like Sebastian Berhalter, who might be a World Cup player for the United States. He is in the Vancouver midfield. They're strong everywhere. They're deep. And it's hard to argue they're not the best team. So, I mean, that said, they're going to have a big target on their back. And we'll see how many players go to the World Cup. But if you're watching on Apple TV, a big San Diego fan, or if you're a neutral, I would tune in for the Whitecaps. They're a fun watch. And it'll be a really good test to see where San Diego is. If San Diego FC can get a win here against this team, they're going to be feeling really good about the second half.
Max, appreciate you taking the time for us and the perspective for our listeners, and have a good call coming up this weekend in San Diego.
Thank you, man.
I would John Allen, appreciate that anytime. Appreciate you guys making time for our league and our sport. Thank you.
All right, great stuff from Max Bretos with Apple TV. Let's get back to the Padres.
We're excited about SDFC.
Yes, and if they do win this weekend, that's a 7-point homestand through the 3 matches here at Snapdragon Stadium. We're going to play your talkbacks on the other side. When we say Fernando Tatis Jr., what comes to your mind right now? Open the iHeartRadio app. Search for San Diego Sports 760. Click the red talkback mic. By doing that, you're qualified to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Annie Heilbrunn will join us coming up at 4:30. We'll hear more from Craig Stammen reacting to Fernando Tatis Jr.'s struggles and the Padres losing a series to the Dodgers next on Schaefer and Sliwa. Stay with us. Annie Heilbrunn coming up from the UT at 4:30. The Wrap at 4 p.m. We're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. And we're asking you what comes to mind when we say Fernando Tatis Jr. right now if you're a Padres fan. Let's go to our talkback, Mike.
All-star.
Yeah, previously, including last year, actually. Let's go to our talkback, Mike, and hear what our listeners have to say about Fernando Tatis Jr. this afternoon.
Hi, guys. Great show. When I think of Tatis, my first thoughts are no longer an elite player. Laureano had the same suspension as he has, and he still is able to play baseball to his potential. I was at the game last night. After the first pitch of Ohtani home run, the Pods were dead. You could just feel it in the stadium. Keep up the great work on the show, on the radio, as well as a wrap-up. Thanks.
All right. Laureano, by the way, has also done nothing.
Yeah, he's been started off really hot.
It's not just
Who's
Tatis.
Everybody struggling. Fermin, Laureano, Machado, Cronenworth is out, but you saw his numbers before he went out.
Merrill,
Jackson Merrill,
Toddy.
Xander has been.
He hasn't been good. I mean,
Xander's going back to what he's been.
The offense is Miguel Andujar, Gavin Sheets, Ty France. That's what the offense is.
And like an occasional Castellanos moment.
Yeah, exactly. And his numbers aren't good. His numbers aren't good.
He's just had timely, which makes you feel like it's more impactful.
We'll get to some more talkbacks over the course of the next couple of hours. But yeah, I mean,
Camposano for a quick second doing well, and then he obviously went out.
Yeah, he was good. But I mean, it's easy to be like, well, Fermin hasn't played well, or even Cronenworth hasn't played well. But I'm like, again, they're not going to get the headlines, you know?
Yeah.
Fermin's not going to get the headlines. Where Tatis, of course, I mean, this is what you sign up for, though, right? If you're Fernando Tatis Jr.
What was what kind of you walk away from that series?
Yeah, no,
what'd you walk
my
away
opinion
with?
doesn't. I mean, my opinion.
What'd you walk away with? Yeah,
my opinion hasn't changed on them at all. It wouldn't have changed if they won last night 4-0 either. I think they're
mine would have a little bit. I mean, I would have take 2 or 3 from the Dodgers and. You're just kind of continuing. Again, we're just talking about them on May 20th, May 21st. I mean, I'm not saying that if they take 2 or 3 from the Dodgers, this means they're the better team. But you don't think you'd had no impact in yesterday, whether they win or not?
I knew that people would say that it had an impact on them, but I didn't think for me over 162, it really had any bearing on what their ability was. I still think the same things I thought, which is I think they're a flawed team. We need to get into the reporting of Dennis Lin in The Athletic, for example, that says they're already looking for relief help of all things. But no, nothing has changed for me based on yesterday. I already had an opinion on the state of the NL West. Maybe it further entrenches that. I think the Padres are obviously playing catch up. But no, I don't have a different feeling on the team. I think the team is fortunate to be 29-20 is what I truly feel.
Yeah, I think nothing really. The surprise to me would have been you take 2 or 3 from the Dodgers.
See, that wouldn't have been a surprise to me, but maybe, I guess
it would have been. For me, it would have been a surprise you take 2 or 3. Winning 1 of 3 is kind of like, all right, that kind of went chalk. Kind of felt like that's how it was going to go. That the Dodgers are, maybe not playing to their full potential at this stage. The Padres kind of figuring. I mean, think about the games they had. They had 2 games where they scored a total of 1 run. Scored 6 runs in the series.
Yep. No, I scored 5 runs in the series, right?
They had a 1-0 and that's right, 5 runs.
Yeah,
scored 5 runs in the series.
Yep.
So and listen, they had some moments like I thought Michael King having that performance against Yamamoto, just unbelievable. I thought, Griffin Canning I thought pitched a decent game in game 2. I don't think Randy Vasquez was awful yesterday, even though he gave up a few runs, but kind of minimized what some of the damage could have been. I think I walk away from that series like, okay, I think that kind of went probably as planned.
So you don't necessarily change your opinion?
No, I don't.
Yeah, but nor do I.
But here's what I think: the only thing that I'll disagree with you on that you said is you say in the course of 162 games what you believe is going to happen. What I'm talking about more is Yeah, but I'm talking about the games that they've already played. Like because like if I'm being frank with you, I didn't think the Padres before the season started would be 9 games over 500 at this point.
Right.
I didn't. I just kind of thought they'd maybe hover around 500, and then let's see what they could do as the season moves along. So there've been a lot of surprises for me during the season. I thought the series against the Dodgers, nothing really shocked me from that series.
No, same. Nothing surprised me. The biggest surprise to me about the Padres is they're 9 games over 500 based on their play. I wouldn't be surprised if they were 9 games over 500 if Tatis was hitting 333 with 9 home runs and Machado was hitting 280 with 7 home runs.
How they got there.
Mara was hitting 276 with 8
How
home
they
runs.
got there.
Yeah, what surprises me is I still feel like they're a bit over their skis based on their actual performance so far. Dennis Lin this morning at The Athletic reporting that the Padres are already in the market for relief help. And you say to yourself, well, that's interesting because the one area of their team that at times has been elite has been their ability to hold leads in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. He wrote today that they are interested not just in relief help, closers potentially. He linked the Padres to both Aroldis Chapman and to Josh Hader, writing the Padres have long been interested in Chapman, who at age 38 has a .51 ERA. Josh Hader is in the midst of a 5-year, $95 million deal. He's in year 3.
That's right.
Of course, the ownership, though, with the Padres is changing this summer. But Dennis Lin and The Athletic linking the Padres to bullpen help and potentially to even closers because Greg Stammen made this point earlier this week. Obviously, their closer, Mason Miller's been terrific, but he can't pitch every single game. Sure. They could use even more, even with the successes they're having right now. Interestingly.
Yeah, if you told me right now, hey, the Padres are going to go be aggressive and try and add to this team, and where would bullpen rank to you? For me, it would be towards the bottom.
Right, because you're saying they need to address hitting. They need to maybe address the back of their rotation.
Starting pitcher.
Right.
Now, a starting pitcher, I know we'll see Giolito, and there's kind of some other things that they need to figure out. Will Pivetta come back?
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you told me that they were aggressive on going to try get a bat, I'd be like, well, I mean, obviously. Yeah. I'm surprised that'd be bullpen. Now, don't get me wrong. These names that he's talking about, you add them to the bullpen. Phenomenal names.
Right.
You know, and I don't know if that just shows that maybe they got less confidence in some of these other players. Maybe they just feel like, hey, the only way they're going to win games is 3-2.
Right.
So you might as well just keep kind of stockpiling in the one area that you are, already good. I mean, it was Dave Roberts that said it after the first game. Dave Roberts said something to the extent, he's like, listen, we all know you get to the 7th inning, scoring on the Padres is going to be really, really tough.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, listen, Dennis Lin also makes the point that maybe sometimes you ying when someone else yangs because the cost of acquiring frontline or even mid-tier starting pitching or the cost of acquiring a slugger outpaces the cost of acquiring a reliever. And that is traditionally true.
Sure.
So it's like, well, if you can only add so much, if you're not willing, and we're getting way in front of ourselves, but if you're not willing to trade away Ethan Salas, you don't need to trade Ethan Salas to get 38-year-old Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah.
But you do need Ethan Salas to go out and get frontline starting pitching, potentially controllable starting pitching. So it would be an interesting strategy. The truth is, if they're in it, they're going to acquire relief pitching. They'll get a back end starter. They'll acquire a bat. It's unlikely to be one move that AJ Preller's looking to make.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about what they gave up to go get Mason Miller, but let's not forget what is not currently working out with what they went out to go get last season. Laureano is not playing well. Fermin has been abysmal. Yeah. I mean, awful. Ryan O'Hearn, you obviously traded for last year, and he didn't re-sign. He walked. So, I know what you want me to tell you. I mean, I love you're selling me more and more on the idea of continue to go all in because that's just kind of the window that they're in.
Right.
You don't have a choice on this. Like
it feels like that. Yeah.
It's like I've already spent. It's like I'm remodeling my home. I've already spent so much money on the kitchen and the this and that. I'm really not going to remodel the bathroom.
Right.
Like I'm going to do it. And whatever that credit card debt is, that is kind of where the Padres are. I'm not discouraging any of that stuff, but yeah, I mean, the reasoning of saying why they'd go after a bullpen makes more sense because you're going to give up less. My biggest concern is just how are you going to score enough runs to really compete against Chicago, Milwaukee, Atlanta. Don't mention the Dodgers. Like there's other squads too out there that I'm concerned about before you even get there.
Yeah, and I mentioned them all because in 2024 the Padres had an awesome bullpen, didn't beat the Dodgers. In 2025 the Padres had an awesome bullpen, didn't beat the Cubs. In 2026, they have an awesome bullpen. Are they going to beat someone in the postseason? Annie Heilbrunn at 4:30. The wrap coming up at 4 p.m. More of your talkbacks as well. When we say Toddy, what do you think? What goes through your head? Open the talkback mic. Open the iHeartRadio app. Search for San Diego Sports 760. Click on the microphone icon. We'll play your talkbacks in the 4 o'clock hour. Here until 6. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. Live on the iHeartRadio app. All right. Hey, guys, it is Schaefer again for my friends at the all-new Humul Casino Resort, the Players Place, a terrific spot to get to this summer, their hotel and spa, where you can experience elevated luxury with their refined hotel stay and the rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, all the excitement of Humul Casino Resort seamlessly brought together now in one unforgettable destination, and you can take your stay to the next level with exclusive hotel packages crafted for the ultimate escape. You will love Tony Gwynn's with their endless dining. You can enjoy San Diego's favorite endless dining experience. That's Wednesday through Sunday at Tony Gwynn's Sports Pub. And make sure to check out Humul 23 with their lobster buffet every day, where you can enjoy all-you-can-eat lobster every day, plus dozens of other delicious stations. Start your morning with their new signature breakfast buffet. That's Monday through Friday, 8 to 10:30 a.m., featuring made-to-order omelets, fresh fruit, and sweet and savory favorites at the all-new Humul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
This report is sponsored by eBay. The Padres have an off day today. They start a weekend series at Petco Park tomorrow night against the A's. In NBA news, Thunder forward Jalen Williams has been listed as day-to-day with a hamstring injury. And we have game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight, Cavs at Knicks. They will tip off a little bit after 5 o'clock. And in sad news, NASCAR icon Kyle Busch died at the age of 41 due to a severe illness. eBay is home to millions of finds, and each one becomes part of your story. From your favorite vintage band tee to the dream car you've been searching for, or the foul ball you heroically gave away. It's all there on eBay. eBay, things people love.
It's Schaefer and Sliwa. John Schaefer and San Diego's own Alan Sliwa. Here's Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, hour 2 here. San Diego Sports 760, Schaefer and Sliwa. We're giving away that 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. If you want to win, you can open the iHeartRadio app, search for 760, click the talkback mic, and tell us what you think when we say Fernando Tatis Jr. We'll get to more of your talkbacks throughout the course of the next couple of hours. Annie Heilbrunn will join us from the UT at 4:30. John Wilner, Bay Area News Group, on the latest with the Pac-12 and the Mountain West and how it impacts San Diego State.
A lot cooking in the Pac-12.
He will join us coming up at 5:30 p.m.
A lot cooking around San Diego State too.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a busy time considering it's not normally busy this time.
Yeah, I don't know. This could be a very algorithm thing where everything like I'm seeing on Twitter.
No, I don't think it's algorithm. I just think with the changing of the league.
Every time you put something, I like it. And now
you should see
X is like San Diego State. I mean, it's just
right.
coming all over me.
Well, we'll have John Wilner again joining us coming up at 5:30. By the way, we're going to be at Novo Brazil, Chula Vista next Thursday, a week from today, from 3 to 6. There'll be another San Diego State Coaches Caravan event that evening. We're going to broadcast live from 3 to 6.
It's going to be awesome.
A week from today down in Chula Vista.
Can't wait for it. You know
really
what I'm hoping for?
Really good spot.
I want somebody from Chula Vista to be like, hey, Slee, when that broadcast is over, you got to go here. Got to go to this taco shop. You got to go visit this Mexican restaurant. Like, I need somebody to, I need a little guide out there, a little tour in Chula Vista.
All right. Well, come visit us on Thursday, a week from today in Chula Vista at Novo Brazil. We'll be there from 3 to 6 p.m. But right now, let's get to this.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Guys, Ethan Salas is up to number 20 prospect in
number
baseball.
20.
ESPN. Previous list, he was 110, so he made quite a jump. Is he untouchable at the trade deadline?
Is Ethan Salas untouchable? John, you've kind of churned me a little bit here. You've churned me into the whole. They're going to keep swinging until you can't swing anymore. And based on what the Padres have done with their farm system, now Ethan Salas might be the most popular name of all these names.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's untouchable because it's AJ Preller. Now, if you told me there was somebody else running operations for the San Diego Padres, maybe that'd be a different story. But it doesn't seem like there's anybody in that farm system that's untouchable. I say no.
Yeah, I think two things could be true. I wouldn't trade Ethan Salas, and he's not untouchable. There's no way he's untouchable because we don't know what that player could command. And if he commands something that makes your organization better, then the job of the general manager is probably to make the deal. Now, it's in his opinion whether he's able to do that or not. Am I expecting it? No. Was I expecting Leo DeVries to be traded? Absolutely not. So would I put it past the Padres or Preller? Nope.
Here's the one curveball that I don't think any of us have the answer on. How does new ownership view the farm system? How do they view cropping your players? How do they view, like, again, you don't need to have new ownership come in and say, well, you know, this is how we do it. But they're philosophically could say, yeah, no, there's a lot of value of having your own player, your own star, bringing that player through the system. They could easily look at AJ Preller and say the way it was done before, which is very common. The way it was done before is not going to be done the same way.
Completely. We don't know that. We haven't heard from Jose Feliciano or Kwanzaa Jones. They
hasn't even called us. Hasn't even said, hey, I love the show.
They've been going to some of these games, but I think per Major League Baseball, they don't actually change over to be primary owners for another few weeks. Next question.
Who's at more of a disadvantage due to injuries in the Thunder Spurs series?
Okay, so we got right now Jalen Williams day-to-day again. San Antonio has not had De'Aaron Fox in the first 2 games, and then Dylan Harper left the game yesterday. Can I just assume De'Aaron Fox is coming back? I mean, what do I do here?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I think the 2 injuries, if you told me the injuries stay as is, I think San Antonio is at more of a disadvantage because you literally have 2 point guards that are not there. Castle's having to run point, and he just broke a record for the most turnovers.
Yeah.
He has like 19 turnovers in 2 games.
Right.
So I think they're at more of a disadvantage because of that. But if you told me just De'Aaron Fox comes back and Dylan Harper's out, or Dylan Harper's there and De'Aaron Fox is out, Jalen Williams is an absolute baller, even though the Thunder have proved they're still good without him. to get past the Spurs, I think they need Jalen Williams if the Spurs are healthy.
And what about AJ Mitchell, who left that game? Now, I think they got some encouraging news on him, but again, encouraging news doesn't mean you're going to be at your utmost peak when Game 3 comes around tomorrow night. So it does feel like a lot of these teams deal with significant injuries in recent postseasons, and it could be determining the difference between winning and losing an NBA championship. I'm fascinated by this Thunder Spurs series. I do think now we are in line for that long series, that 6 or 7 game series, and injuries are going to be a part of it in that series moving forward.
There was no news on AJ Mitchell, which usually means
good news.
Yeah. And they did have, I keep calling him Ron Harper's kid. I'm sorry. Dylan Harper.
Yep.
They had a Harper scheduled for an MRI today, but there hasn't been anything about the results or anything. So he was scheduled to get an MRI at some point today.
He's not. I mean,
I was going to say that can't be close to 100%. That can't be good. Yeah.
Next question.
Who wins tonight's Knicks-Cavs Game 2?
Game 2.
I'm still frustrated from Game 1.
Right.
I think you and I both said this, that I'm expecting the Knicks to win this series. I'm going to give the Cavs this little glimmer of hope.
Okay.
They were down 0-2 to the Pistons. They were up 3-2 against Detroit.
Right, lost at home
and came back. So they've had some interesting paths to come back and get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Knicks are obviously going to be the heavy favorites. Let's gamble a little bit.
Cleveland.
Let's go a little Cavs tonight.
Here's my
whether
guarantee.
I believe it or not.
Here's my guarantee. If the Cavs lead by 22 or more inside of a minute, they will win the game. Now, they led by 22 with inside 8 minutes.
I like that.
If they have a 22-point lead
will use
inside
a
a minute.
timeout at some point when a run is going the opposite way.
Maybe tonight he will. I'm with you. I'll ride with Cleveland tonight, which means the Knicks will win by 20. But I'd like to see a good Eastern Conference Finals as well. But I'll ride with Cleveland. We'll see.
Look at us.
We'll see.
Riding
Next
with the
question.
Cavs.
Should the Padres move Fernando down in the batting order?
Absolutely. This isn't. I don't even think this is a question. I was listening a little bit earlier. Obviously, our good friend Darren Smith, Marty, they do a podcast as well, Fry Territory. They had Heath Bell on, and this was kind of part of the topic in the conversation there. And Heath Bell basically just said, the further you move him down the lineup indicates that, okay, hey, this guy is not a threat to hit a home run. That's what he is. So if you got to put him 6th in the order or 7th in the order, that's where you should put him. I mean, him leading off yesterday, and, obviously I get it. I understand it. I know why they're doing it. They got to stop doing it. You got to now, there's no more, I think, from the perspective of trying to play with his emotions, be nice, all that stuff. Put him in the 6 or 7 spot and let this man figure it out on his own, because I don't have a solution.
I said this last night on the wrap-up show.
Okay.
You know where I'd hit Fernando Tatis Jr.? 9th. Because oftentimes 9-hole hitters are speed guys. And they're predicated on their ability to get on base and turn a lineup over. And it's like a second leadoff hitter.
Sure.
And there's just no pressure. Now, it's an ego hit, but who cares? The ego is already damaged.
I don't care.
He hasn't homered in 50 games. So I would bat him 9th. For a moment, people will say, oh my gosh, Fernando Tatis Jr. is batting 9th. And then we'll recognize he actually does reach base at a decent clip considering his batting average. Actually does run okay, even though he's been caught stealing more than anyone in baseball this year, which is 6 times. And the pressure all of a sudden just completely goes by the wayside. If that then doesn't work, I need a phantom injury to go get right in El Paso where the elevation is 100,000 feet and I could bunt for a home run.
Yeah, I don't know if, I don't know if 9th sounds brutal. I know exactly what you're talking about, and it makes a lot of sense what you're saying. Maybe you slowly work your way there.
6, 7,
and you just kind of work your way, towards that.
Right.
But what you said is there's no pressure of him at 9. I completely disagree with. I think right now there's mounting. Brother, we spent the first half hour talking about what the hell is wrong with Tatis. Like, whether he's batting 9th
or 4th or 1st or 8th.
Pressure's going to be there.
That's what I mean. The nuclear option, which again has been posed. The nuclear option for me is not trading him at his utmost lowest point ever, and he has no trade clause. So forget about that for a second until someone's reporting on it. The nuclear option is always oblique, like Cal Raleigh. Man, how about that oblique? That's tough to lose him like that. I know he's struggling. That's tough. Oh, he's got a rehab in AAA. Oh, in AAA, the OPS of the team is 1,000. Oh, the average score in that league is 13-12.
Would you agree this? The problem with the Padres right now, they're just so thin right now already. Cronenworth out.
Yep.
Jackson Merrill, we're going to kind of have to wait and find out.
We don't know. He could be.
So yeah. I think so
they need him.
Only issue with that right now, it's like they need him in the lineup. I don't think they have the luxury to say, go hang out somewhere for 10 days and figure it out.
Right. Yeah, so, I don't think that would happen with a player like Fernando Tatis Jr., but I do wonder, like, what are the true options
you were just putting him in the 9th spot.
I have no problem putting him in the 9th spot. None whatsoever.
Pressure will still be there.
I don't think
pressure will still be there. But that's okay.
On the team.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't.
Real quick on that, someone last night was like, man, I hadn't been paying attention as much to what people are saying about the Padres. They kind of checked in from the Dodger perspective. Like, I cannot believe what Padres fans are saying about Fernando Tatis Jr. Wow.
Yeah.
Is this really what people believe about Fernando Tatis Jr.? I'm like, yeah, it's gone south here over the last 3+ years.
I don't have a problem if they move him to 9th. It kind of reminds me of, remember back before the universal DH when they were doing that experiment of, pitcher you're going to bat 8th and then you're going to hit, because once we go through the order once, you're going to be the new leadoff hitter technically. So
again, who knows? They've tried everything and they'll continue to try everything.
I know where he can't be.
Where's that?
He can't be leading off anymore. Can't have him in your cleanup. Like they've got to, we got to stop pretending. What he is today is what he is. It ain't going to change. At least for now.
Until we see results.
Yeah, you got to treat him. You got to start treating Tatis now as what the numbers say he is.
Right.
Because
not what he was.
Yeah, because I think the more that you're trying to do that, the more he's continuing to fail based off of treating him like Fernando Tatis Jr. You almost got to treat him as if he's not Fernando Tatis Jr. anymore. Move him down the lineup.
No, I think it's a really good point. What do you guys think when we say Toddy? Open the app, search for 760, click the red microphone icon, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Why did the Lakers lose to the Thunder? In LeBron James's words, you'll hear from LeBron on the other side. Plus, Annie Heilbrunn from the UT will join us coming up at 4:30. This is Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Annie Heilbrunn's going to join us in 11 minutes. We're about to hear from LeBron James as well. Let's get to one more talk back, though. We're asking you
Let's do it, yeah.
What you think when you hear the name Fernando Tatis Jr. right now, and you can chime in on our talkback mic on the app.
You get one word. What's your description of Tatis? I wonder if I wouldn't be surprised if we both
3,
pick the
2,
same
1.
word.
Let's say the word.
3, 2, 1.
Disappointing.
Lost.
Yeah, lost is actually better. It's way more than disappointing. Let's hear what one of our listeners had to say on the talkback mic.
First word that comes to mind is disappointing. Just this guy was a top 3 face of baseball after the 2021 season. You could say it was him, Ohtani, Acuna maybe. And just to see the downfall from one year just slowly to this year, it's kind of unbelievable, very disappointing. And the guy's paid to be an absolute star, but he's not.
Good call.
Well, there's other guys too, that are paid to be stars and they're not. Xander is not anything of what they paid him. He's not. But I think there's something to the Tatis thing is like the Xander Tatis, had you, at least based off of where we sit today, it's like, well, at least Xander is still 7 home runs this year or something along those lines. At least he's been productive. At least he's got some key moments. At least he's got some, some RBIs that are memorable. If Tatis had the same numbers as Xander, the same numbers, is he playing up to his potential? Is he playing up to his salary? He's not. But at least then he's not the conversation. We're kind of shifting our attention to other players. He's been so bad. Let me flip this real quick. Let's say Tatis had Xander's numbers. Xander had Tatis's numbers. It's not going to be as loud
about Xander,
but it's going to be pretty freaking loud. The problem is it's Tatis. Like, it's not supposed to be Tatis. I go back to the age thing too. I can be sold on somebody approaching their mid-30s. Hey, his greatest days are behind him. I can't be sold on a 27-year-old.
You still can't be sold? Or it's harder to sell you
It's much harder to sell me.
Yeah, I agree. It is harder.
Much harder.
There's always the belief that there is time.
27 is young.
It is very young, but what he's dealt with is a lot. But I agree. It is harder because of his age.
How many homers did he have last year? Say 24? Yeah, right?
I mean, how do you go from 24 to none?
That's my point. My point is that, I mean, you said that, no, I still want the old Tatis.
That's what I want.
And I'm trying to tell you that, are you kidding me? Like, give me the 24 home runs Tatis right now sounds like this man is Babe Ruth.
It sounds amazing, but doesn't that suck that we've had to lower our expectations for this player each and every year?
By the way, he ends up at 12 this year, where we've again lowered our expectations to a completely different threshold.
Yeah.
By the way, 12. He is 0.
I know. He may not even get there.
My point is that he was 24 last year, and obviously he has half the amount from last season.
Yeah, then where's he gonna end up with 6?
It's stressing me the hell out, man.
It's crazy.
Stop stressing me out.
I know. Let's hear from LeBron James. Okay, LeBron James commenting on this Lakers Thunder series that just played out, and about the difference between these two teams, where the Lakers are right now. Take a listen to where
he does his Mind the Game podcast. He does that with Steve Nash. So this is on their podcast.
All right, take a listen to this.
You get caught up in ring culture and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, there's 29 teams, if that's the case, who are all failures, if that's always the narrative. Because there's only one champion, every year. So, I have the passion and the admiration to host the Larry O'Brien Trophy up every single year, but I also have a realization of, what particular team I have been a part of in that particular year. And, understanding this year, we fought and we played to the maximum ability of our team. But ultimately, if we're being completely honest, we were out-talented. We were not outworked. We were not, they didn't out-physical us. They didn't outsmart us. I feel like we were just out-talent, by OKC. They just possessed so much more talent. Yeah. And they might have had a couple more possessions where, some IQ could kick in, but that happens throughout the course of the game. That goes for both teams. I feel like there's times where we had moments where we out-Q'd them, but IQ'd them. So, but at the end of the day, we failed in talent. OKC just possessed so much more talent than us, and you could tip your cap to them, obviously, and understanding that. But you can't get caught up in that, especially when you know that you're undermanned for sure.
Yeah, interesting to kind of the just admitting we're nowhere near that level. The admission.
Yeah. So you were saying that throughout the course of that series.
The admission of he's not enough talent. By the way, listen, the two sports are completely different. Baseball and basketball is completely different. I think in basketball, it's much more predictable. I could walk into a series and we could both look at it and be like, yeah. In baseball, you might have one squad that's more talented, but they could play 1 week of bad baseball, which happens all the time. And all of a sudden, it's the team that's not as talented that's moving on. I just think it was interesting to hear LeBron, this admission of, we just – that team's on a different level than we are. And really, I think it's kind of he's not trying to jab at the front office, but it is a direct jab at the front office.
Right. It doesn't scream to me like, hey, if I come back to LA, I'm coming back to win a championship. Because there are no outs in the deck to put them on an equal talent floor with these teams. Now you could go somewhere, you can go to a team that's more talented. I don't even know what that would necessarily look like, but there is no path, correct me if I'm wrong, to being as talented as San Antonio next year, to be as talented as Oklahoma City next year. They could be better than the Lakers were this year, but they can't be as talented as those teams.
They're going to have to use their 3 draft picks they have this summer.
Right.
They're going to need to be wildly creative. Yep. They're going to need some guys to take some discounts, including LeBron and potentially Austin Reeves. And then they're going to need some health to go their way.
Yeah, exactly.
That's honestly kind of the path. Now, if LeBron decides to leave, then you're now rebuilding something differently just based off of,
solely around Luka. Annie Heilbrunn from the UT, her thoughts on the Padres dropping that series to the Dodgers, 29-20 overall. The Tatis drama, how it just boiled over last night. We'll get the perspective from Annie Heilbrunn, who has covered the Padres for a long time at the Union Tribune. So join us on the other side here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Padres are off today. They start a weekend series with the A's tomorrow night at Petco Park. In NBA news, Thunder forward Jalen Williams has been listed day-to-day with a hamstring injury. And we got game 2 of Cavs Knicks tonight. They're going to tip off here in about 40 minutes or so. And NASCAR icon Kyle Busch passed away today at the age of 41 due to a severe illness. Ready to upgrade to the perfect sleep setup? Let Mattress Firm's sleep experts guide you to the perfect bed at the Memorial Day sale. Top brands, ideal comfort, score unbeatable deals on both. Mattress Firm, they make sleep easy.
All right, Schaefer and Sliwa, we're excited to get the perspective of Annie Heilbrunn, who covers, of course, the San Diego Padres. She is as well aware as Annie about what is playing out with Fernando Tatis Jr. right now. Who even knows what happened? That's kind of the point. So let's get Annie's perspective on it. What has it been like, Annie, to cover this team, to see this firsthand? It's almost like a bit of a fall from grace, I guess, for Tatis, what's played out here over the last, not just the last couple of months, maybe the last couple of years. So just how do you see how this all boiled over last night? He grounds into a double play. They lose to the Dodgers. I don't even know what I'm asking you, but thanks for hopping on. And where do you land in the Tatis drama right now?
John, Alan, great to be on with you guys. And yes, let me go ahead and just take that and run with it because I have no solutions. I have no answers, much like everybody else, but I can at least tell you the information that I've been seeing by being down at Petco Park. So it's been hard to watch. You know, I was listening to you guys say, finish the sentence, Fernando Tatis Jr. is, and I would just say he is down bad. You know, he is like if you got your dog run over or someone left, your partner left you and you had no idea why. And all of a sudden you just couldn't really wrap your head around it. I think if you look at him and you realize this is a guy who all his life hitting has come pretty naturally. I mean, maybe he didn't always post the same numbers, but he had raw talent that he's had his whole life. And then for it to kind of just disappear on him, and I'm sure, as we all know, he's been through slumps before, but for it to be prolonged like this and for national media to be weighing in on it and local media pretty much daily, I think it's all just kind of mentally messing with him in a big, big way. Of course, there are mechanical problems going on with the swing, but I would give it to the mental side first and foremost. And I think he's really been trying to fight that, but I think it's just caught up with him a little bit. So, you know, he was out earlier this week with Steven Souza Jr., who, by the way, I have a really, large Q&A with coming out tomorrow where, again, no answers, but he talks a lot about his philosophies and kind of the way he looks at hitting. And we started in spring training and then updated it this week with some questions about the offense and Fernando. And so that'll be out tomorrow. But he was out there working along with Nick Castellanos and a few other guys, and they were really hands-on. I mean, Steven Souza Jr. was, you know, they were clearly working on mechanics. They were clearly working on really detailed things. It didn't result in anything on the field the next 2 games, but they're definitely doing things, you know, he to the point where like he's got his hands on him, turning his shoulders, and, you know, we're trying to work on different techniques and whatever they were, you know, I can't say exactly what it was, but they were just definitely getting into the hands-on work. So they are working on stuff. But I think when you are like Fernando and you have so many voices like we've talked about, and you try things and maybe it works for a little bit and then he resorts to some other feel or some other thing that he thinks might work better, or he just slips into it. I think that's where the trouble is happening. And the other week I asked him, hey, what is your dad telling you? Because we know that his dad's obviously been one of his hitting coaches his whole life. And he said, my dad's telling me to be confident, but it's hard to be confident when a 99-mile-an-hour fastball is coming at you and you just not doing what you need to do with it, you know? And so I think he's really struggling with the confidence. I don't think his season is lost. I don't know that he'll put up the numbers that we're used to seeing from him. And I know that those numbers have been slipping anyways, but I don't know that we're going to see like the back of the baseball card whole deal. But I still look at it like it's like you have, you know, 4 tires and one is flat, but you got the other 3. And now it's about saving the other 3 and, you know, just kind of, I don't know, driving with 3 tires, I guess. That was a really bad analogy. But I think you can still salvage this season is what I'm saying. And look, if he's able to get back on track and provide the team with a second half that is good or solid, you know, I think that you'll have a lot of redemption after that, or even into the playoffs. We know how good he's been in the playoffs, but But I think it's a mystery right now. It's a conundrum that is definitely affecting him both mechanically and mentally.
Yeah, Andy, it's also like I think everybody wants to find a way to support him, but he's just not giving anybody much hope here. So hopefully as the season obviously progresses, this becomes something that's behind him. And it's tough for me. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that, that it's tough to have confidence in him right now. We'll see what eventually happens. What did you make? You kind of walk away from this 3-game set. Let's focus specifically on the series against the Dodgers. Are there some things that surprised you, or did it kind of play out chalk of what you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, I think it was good to see them be mostly competitive. I mean, the third game I thought was their least competitive game, but the first two, they were competitive and they were neck and neck. And I think they could have even won the second one, easily with a few things going their way. So I think that's good to see, right? But that third game does kind of go to advantage Dodgers, in my opinion. And I think that when you look at it, it's like, okay, it's great that they're neck and neck in the standings. And I am fully impressed by the way the Padres have been winning games. I think it's crazy. It's wild how they've been doing it, but they've been getting it done. But if you look at a lot of the Dodgers numbers, their offensive numbers are better than the Padres, and their run differentials and their where they are in the standings with offense and compared to other teams. And their bullpen is good and their starting rotation is good, and they've got some injuries, so that's probably going to even improve. And I think that even though that they're neck and neck in the standings, that's one thing that catches my eye of like, not to say that the Padres can't improve in all those areas, and not to say that the Dodgers can't slip and have a tough few months at some point. But I think that the standings are a little bit deceiving right now. If you look at those underlying numbers, the advantage definitely goes to the Dodgers.
Annie Heilbrunn with us right now from the UT. Again, the Padres are off today. Their homestand continues this weekend. She's with us right now in Schaefer and Sliwa. Did you see the report today in The Athletic? Dennis Lynn wrote about the Padres already maybe seeking potential relief help or considering relief help at some point between now and the deadline. Does that surprise you or not surprise you, considering what we're watching play out right now in real time these first 2 months of the year?
Yeah, it's both, because it did surprise me, honestly. When I saw that, I was like, really? We're looking at the bullpen? There's glaring needs on offense and in the starting rotation. But we know that AJ Preller is always in on everything, right? So how in is he on this compared to what don't we know that he's also in on? What aren't we aware of quite yet? So I guess in that sense, it doesn't surprise me. But one thing that I have been noticing these last few weeks is, you're at a point where you should be starting to see more depth from your starters. You should be seeing guys go 6-7 innings. And I know if you guys can think back to even a few years ago when the starting rotation was really dominant, and you would have like Darvish, Musgrove, Cease going back to back to back, and it would be 6 innings, 7 innings, and your bullpen would really be given a break, a reprieve during those times. It wasn't just like every once in a while a guy went 6 or 7, and that's what you're seeing now with the Padres. You're seeing every once in a while a guy will go 6 or 7, and it's just not going to be enough, So even though their starting rotation gets a lot of credit for patching it together and maybe exceeding expectations for the fact that they have not really aces in that starting rotation. They've got guys trying to make a resurgence in their career and trying to find a lot of their pitches again. So credit to them for keeping the team in games. But you're not seeing that depth at all. And so I can understand where there's some concern about the bullpen possibly being taxed as the season goes on. But there's concerns in the other areas definitely as well.
Right.
Annie, as kind of get ready, like you mentioned, I think a lot of people are trying to figure out how the Padres, just kind of based off individual performances, some of the injuries that they've had, they're 9 games above 500. Have you heard anything? Has there been anything new just specifically on Pivetta? Any conversation, anything that, even if it's no news, has there been anything on Pivetta? I feel like it's been really quiet on that front.
Yeah, it's definitely been quiet. And him and Musgrove are around. You see them both. Pivetta is around, but not really talking. So there's not much to update. I know Craig Stammen's been asked about it more specifically in the last week or so in terms of can you expect to see them before the All-Star break, after the All-Star break, et cetera? And while we don't really get concrete answers, it definitely is leaning more towards we're still a ways away. or maybe, I don't know if it's exactly after the All-Star break, but we're still a ways away. And I don't know if that's because they're really wanting to give them time for their arms to feel better, or maybe, I don't know what they're doing behind the scenes that is giving them an indicator or not that these guys are not yet ready to actually start baseball activities. Because they're not throwing yet, for sure. I think Joe Musgrove goes out there and plays catch a little, but like they're not on any kind of like regimented throwing program or ramping up or anything like that. So I don't know if it's hey, we're just going to play it safe. We're just going to play it safe and give them extra time because we just don't need to rush them back. And we'll start to take a look at everything, the injury and everything after we give them ample time to rest those arms. But I know talking to Joe, I'm working on a different story where I talked to Joe a few weeks ago, but he was talking about how nothing that he's going through is like UCL related. It's not surgery related. It's more that when he was doing his rehab, he spent so much time focused on the elbow that he almost, it hindered other parts of his shoulder and then like his throwing pattern, So because he was so freaked out about the elbow and, the rehab of the elbow, it's kind of like made other parts of his shoulder or whatever compensate in ways that he wasn't used to. I'm messing that up somewhat. He said it a lot better than I can right now. But he sees positive in that. Like, this isn't like an elbow thing. This is just trying to get the rest of his arm now to catch up with the rehab, with the way that everything else, is moving for him. So, those things are really tricky. And then for Pivetta, I honestly thought that we'd see him back already, because he did have the same injury a year or two, no, I think 2 years ago, and he was back within a month. So that on itself is kind of interesting. Like, it's the same injury. Why the slow play? But they must be really feeling like, we just don't need to rush them. And we're going to give them an ample ramp up.
Andy, kind of up against it, but I wanted to ask you about Machado. Like, we spent all this time with Tatis. Is it more surprising that Manny Machado in 2 months is hitting 178 for a guy that's been such a consistent offensive performer?
Yes, because I look at a lot of these questions and it's like we were asking these questions a month ago, right? Mm-hmm. And thinking, well, this is going to have to change soon. And now they're still winning games. So again, I give them credit, but these numbers are very strange, and even for Jackson Merrill as well, right? So for Manny, yeah, absolutely. Like, that's where I go. Okay, the back of the baseball card. I don't know if they're going to get to those numbers this year because as time continues to tick on, will they be able to get to those? But with him, I know he's been battling some physical stuff that I'm hearing that he has been, but of course he's in there pretty much every day. So it can't be as it's not like it's hindering him where he has to be off the field. But he might be battling some of that. And then for him, I don't think the mental is as bad, but I do think the mental it still affects him. I think the other day he said something like it sucks to suck or something, I don't think it's easy for him by any means. I think he's just more used to sometimes baseball is just like this, and so yeah, it's a little weird, but I do think that he will become more of the Manny that we know in the coming months.
They can use it.
I have no basis for that, except that's what we're using.
Yeah, exactly. You're very optimistic, Annie. We like it.
I like it. With Manny, it makes sense.
Optimistic, yeah.
With Manny, he's done it before. Annie, appreciate you doing it. Hope all is well, and we'll connect with you again coming up soon, all right?
Awesome, guys. Anytime. Have a great one.
Thank you. You
the
too.
Great Annie Heilbrunn with us here from the Union Tribune. We can react to that conversation.
She's
Plus,
very positive,
she is.
I feel like by the time I'm done with the conversation,
you feel better about the Padres.
Tatis is hitting 38 this year.
Yeah, he might still hit 40. You're right. Now, I love catching up with Annie. So, again, Annie Heilbrunn from the UT with us here on Schaefer and Sliwa. What Charles Barkley has to say about the state of the NBA's TV schedule.
By the way, this is every league now, right? I think he's almost talking for every league.
Probably true. You'll hear what he had to say on the other side. Plus, John Wilner, Bay Area News Group on the latest of the Pac-12 and the Mountain West at 5:30 here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, San Diego Sports 760 congratulates all our winners in iHeartRadio's Think a Teacher powered by Donors Choose. There's still time to donate to a classroom project, and your donation will be matched by Donors Choose. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future right now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. iHeartRadio.com/teachers. You are, if I'm right here, you're 2 for 2. Yeah, you hit both your last 2 shots, right?
Yeah. Let me turn my mic on with the crumpled up piece of paper in the trash
turn
bin.
the mic on?
Probably.
Yeah, you're 2 for 2 right now with your shots, and I'd say you're more like a free throw. It's kind of like a free throw.
This is far. This is 25 feet. This is 30 feet away.
This is the Wemby shot that he had?
Yeah, this is Wemby with 38 seconds left.
Okay. There he is.
Missed it short.
There's my guy. There's my guy.
I'm back.
My guy.
You can get your shot next hour.
You don't put any arc on. There's no arc on.
That's because I got this center in front of me. This mic. I can't. I gotta. Yeah.
You were double teamed. You were. They set the double.
There's a reason I do.
This was Shea versus the Lakers. They set the double at him.
There's a reason I do what I do.
Yes.
And it's not because I'm good at competition.
Every time you say that, you make it sound like I'm asking you to be in the Navy SEALs
or the NBA or something. Yeah. It's a good point. It's a good point. Charles Barkley saying something that a lot of sports fans feel, and we have the exact quote, but along the lines of like, hey, Commissioner Silver, or hey, Commissioner of any professional sports league, can you figure out the disjointed TV and streaming schedule with my favorite sport, whatever it is, baseball, basketball, football? Because Charles Barkley made that point, right? Like, it's disjointed. I want to know where a game is, and I work for one of these networks, and I haven't been able to figure it out. So
here's what he said. I'll read exactly what he said. He said, I think that Adam Silver has got to get a hold of this thing. I think the games are too disjointed right now. NBC, Peacock, Amazon. I think we have disrespected the fans. They don't know when the games are on. I just think that's really unfair to the fans. Goes on to say, when we weren't having games, I had to go to my app and see where the game was at. Is it on NBC? Is it on Peacock? Is it on Amazon? The nights we haven't been working, it's been so frustrating for me. I can imagine how frustrating it is for a regular fan. I'm not sure what the solution is. They've taken all the money now, but they've got to do something because I think we've done a disservice to the fans. Let me just say this, like a lot of people have an opinion on Charles Barkley, and Barkley has an opinion on everything. So it's okay to have an opinion on him, whether it's positive or negative. There are some times when Charles Barkley says something, and I'm like, yeah, can't be any more accurate on that. Tell me what he has said here that is not every single sports fan in America. Here's what the NBA did. They went out and said, we'll take ESPN, we'll take NBC, Peacock, Amazon Prime, we'll get all this, and we'll collect $77 billion. The NBA, one of the NBA's issues is it feels like we'll take the money first and then we'll figure out everything else after that. Not too uncommon in business, but I don't think they care about their consumers, their customers, the paying customers, the people walking into the games, load management, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
That's Charles Barkley saying that on a network that's one of those networks.
The one thing that I'm like, bro, be honest. Chuck he's not trying to watch the games when he's not working. Like, I watch these shows, dude. He's not watching the NBA. He is not obsessively watching the NBA. He's taking a lot of nights off. They're like, hey, name the fifth starter on Philadelphia. He's on Charlotte.
You're not wrong. Listen, Charles Barkley is an entertainer more than he is everything else. But the substance of what he's saying.
No, I agree. I completely agree. I mean, we've made this point a lot. It's not, to me, it's not the sheer dollar amount for the consumer. I'll write a check right now. But the problem is I can't even write that check. How do you write a check? I just want to write one check and get the baseball games and get the football games and get the basketball games. But no, I can't write one check. I need Apple TV and I need Amazon and I need Netflix. It is way too disjointed. Whoever thought we would go back to a world where most people are clamoring for just paid cable TV service where you just have every network in there.
Just channel,
what did you not have in 2005? Nothing. You just had cable. It was expensive.
But I think here's the problem with not everyone, I think, can say, like, you just mentioned right now, like, I don't have a problem paying for it. I think there's two separate complaints here.
People have a problem paying for it.
There's the complaining of, I got to pay $20 a month for that network,
10
$15 for this one, $9.99 over there, blah, blah, blah. And I'm keep going. Part of it is that.
Yep.
The other part, which I'm with you, I think there's, I don't know which one's more frustrating for people. I'm sure that the dollar amount is a sheer frustration. But then there's the other part. It's like, why are you guys making it so hard for me to watch your product?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost as if like you got a pop-up, like a food truck or something. And every day, I don't know where that, like I want to go to their restaurant and I have no idea where it is.
Right.
And they're not telling anybody.
Yeah. Why are they not open on Wednesday? You know, like it's Thursday. Shouldn't you be open?
I think if there's anybody to say that, not that it's going to change anything, I respect that Charles Barkley says it because he's calling out also the network, and he is the biggest name or one of the biggest names in the whole entertainment industry. So I respect that. Now, here's what I think is going to eventually happen. I mean, I said this and I was joking around with you. Why isn't there an app called One App? And everything is just curated, whatever the word is, to put it on there. Eventually, somebody's going to come up with something, or eventually Amazon will just say, we'll buy every network.
Seriously. I mean, it is frustrating. It is frustrating. But by the way, I would say if you're a sports fan, get used to it. You're only going to see more of it. Look at what the NFL is doing right now. They're doing more piecemealing of their games, just more and more and more of it.
Here's a good one, good comment on YouTube. Once you add up all the streaming bills, you might as well just get cable again.
Oh yeah, cable would have been cheaper. It's so dumb.
Yeah,
it's honestly, it's like
it's dumb, but it's business, and that's how they've looked at it, and they don't care.
I know
that you care, because if you want it more enough, like I wanted a Kansas City Chiefs something playoff game, I went to NBC and I was like, oh, I guess I got to pay for this.
Yeah, no, I agree. But aren't you're turning away some would-be fans that aren't willing to do jumping through hoops. Back in the day, just bought Spectrum. I think you're right. Yeah. Just bought Spectrum, and there were the games. Now it's like I got to buy 9 things to go to
buy Cox Cable, right? Yeah. Cox San Diego, all that. Yeah,
it's just changed. All right, we'll get back to the Fernando Tatis Jr. conversation. Plus, the Padres dropping a series to the Dodgers, and the latest with Jackson Merrill. Plus, we're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. If you want to qualify for those tickets, open the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click the talkback mic, and tell us your thoughts on Fernando Tatis Jr. right now if you're a Padres fan. Final hour of San Diego Sports 760. Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760 is next. Stay with us.
This update is sponsored by Taco Bell. The Padres Padres have an off day today. They start a weekend series with the A's tomorrow night down at Petco Park. In NBA news, Thunder forward Jalen Williams has been listed day-to-day with a hamstring injury. We got game 2 of Cavs and Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. They're about to tip off here in about the next 5 to 10 minutes. And we got a little NFL news. Reigning NFL MVP Matthew Stafford and the Rams have reached a 1-year, $55 million contract extension. Taco Bell turned Diablo sauce into a dust, and they're dusting the new Diablo dusted crispy chicken nuggets in it. Brand new classics only at Taco Bell at participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time and while supplies last.
It's Schaefer and Sliwa. Sean Schaefer. San Diego's own Alan Sliwa. Here's Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, final hour here of Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. We will announce a winner of a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair around 5:45 to be eligible to win. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search for 760, click the red talkback mic, and tell us your thoughts on Fernando Tatis Jr. What do you think, bro?
And we won't forget today.
Oh, we didn't give him away yesterday?
No, well, we did, but we forgot to tell who the winner was. It was
that's
Terry.
right, we didn't announce it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
we didn't
Terry.
announce it.
We didn't announce it.
But does Terry know he won?
Yes, because he called in because we
right.
played his thing. But
all right, Terry knows.
Yeah, we will
today
announce it.
Good work, Terry. Good work out of you.
Do we have any more talkbacks we can share with our listeners? This is what we're looking for this hour. We'll announce the winner of that 4-pack of tickets to the county fair coming up at 5:45. Just open the app, and here's one of our listeners from today.
Hey, guys. When I think of Fernando Tatis Jr., I think of the words colossal failure. This guy just rips the cover off the ball for the World Baseball Classic. Then when he comes back home to the Padres, just completely chokes. Swings at the first pitch, pops up, hits into grounders. He's not the pro that we all want him to be, and he needs to be.
What about that WBC take? I just looked up his numbers. You know what he did in the WBC this year against Italy and Israel? Just two teams he played.
Yeah, what did he do?
He was 8 for 20. That's 400 with 2 home runs.
Yeah.
And 11 RBIs in 6 games.
Out of curiosity, maybe this has something to do with it. Maybe it doesn't. Are any of the pitchers who pitched for Italy and Israel
and others, but yeah,
in Major League Baseball right now?
Some maybe, but others may be working day jobs right now in other parts of the world.
That's my only hesitation.
Right? Who are you facing?
You know what I mean? Like
I don't think you saw like Mizorowski from the Brewers.
That's
or
my
Ohtani
point.
From the Dodgers.
I mean, the Padres have faced some aces this year.
Right.
I don't think either of them
was Skeens playing for Italy.
Were representing Italy or Israel.
That's the thing. So, I mean, yes, he was 8 for 20 with 2 home runs and 11 RBIs.
I think there's, something that comes with it. I think right now, Annie was mentioning this as well. Your body language is so important. And Annie mentioned that she had asked him, has his dad given us some advice? And the advice was, hey, your confidence. He's like, it's tough to be confident when you're missing every pitch that's coming your way.
Sure.
That to me, and I think right now it's got to be like, think of yourself in a predicament or a situation, and all you're doing is you're going out and you're asking everyone for their thoughts and their opinion.
Yeah, it's so true.
And really what it does is more than anything else, just confuses you. You can't be your natural self. Like you can't be, now all of a sudden you're being something that somebody else told you to be.
Completely.
When she was giving the example of like, no, trust me, listen, he's in there, he's working with the hitting coach. I even saw the hitting coach doing this and tell him to work with his hands and all that stuff. In my head, I'm like, my God, imagine if somebody's telling Steph Curry, like, no, do it this way, do it that way, do it this way, do it that way. Like at the end of the day, it's going to be up to the player to change it. And it sounds like everything is in his head now.
Yeah, I want to get you had a takeaway on this Padre Dodger series, but my bow on Tatis for now is something you just stated, but to further the point, everyone understands what it's like when all of a sudden you put a magnifying glass on a portion of your life, personally or professionally. I gotta be a perfect dad today. Because yesterday didn't go well, and my son was yelling at me, and I did something I shouldn't have. And then all of a sudden, like, that's not even possible. Because all of a sudden you wake up and he's like, I don't want this cereal. And you're right back like where you are in this. There's no such thing as a perfect day. I got to have a perfect radio show today because my boss said this and I have to do this. And
that's when you're at your, that's when you're most unnatural.
It's like, so there's these fine lines and we've all felt them in whatever we do in life.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just got to figure it out and fight through it. Like, I'm a good enough dad, or I'm good enough at my job, but you have to find your way through it. He's had too much time to find his way through it, I think, at the end of the day, too. Like, sometimes you just got to do it.
You know, what you almost want to hear from Tatis? You almost want to hear Tatis just say, remember Campusano had something early on in the season?
I
had one of those.
Yeah.
Manny Machado with the, hey, why are you so confident that you're going to figure it out? Because I'm Manny effing Machado. It's almost like Tatis right now is going further and further into a corner.
Right.
It's like his confidence level is getting deeper and deeper. You know, it's getting lower and lower. So we'll see. Listen, it's tough because we do this every single day. Again, I keep going to this. I have a difficult time. I'm like, remember when he was about to go to Colorado and then about to go to Mexico City? And here are places where the elevation is so high, it's like you don't even have to hit one very far to go get a home run. And I remember we were like, it's impossible he plays these 5 games and doesn't come back with a home run.
Right.
How long ago was that?
A month.
A month ago?
A month.
We're still sitting here.
Yeah.
So
time is a flat circle.
I got nothing left on that front.
All right. I need your 2 cents on this Padres-Dodgers series.
Yeah.
There was something you wanted to share, but I also want to say that we will hear from. No, I want to say that we'll hear from Craig Stammen on Jackson Merrill. We've put that to the side. We'll do it coming up. But if you miss Craig Stammen on Jackson Merrill, because his status is kind of uncertain moving forward, and I feel like that's as big of a takeaway as anything Fernando related. But what did you have?
Here's the only thing that I'll say, and I think there was something that happened yesterday, and I felt a little bit of it today. The one thing that I think we get caught up in too much in San Diego, and this could be a Dodger thing, it could be something else. And frankly, I think it's way past the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. There is this, here we go again.
Right.
And that seems to be, honestly, the theme in San Diego, period. At least I felt it. And, obviously growing up here, there's a pulse that comes to it. We have to stop attaching things that are not the current moment. Okay. Losing 2 or 3 to the Dodgers doesn't mean the season is over.
Mm-hmm.
There is this like feel. I'll give you, even when I was at the game, the Dodgers tied the score 4-4, and you felt like there was this feel in the stadium, like, oh geez,
right, here we go,
game's over.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, sometimes I think the players have a little bit of that feel yesterday. Ohtani hits that home run on the first pitch yesterday. I'm looking in your eyes. It's funny. You were watching the game,
and I'm like, oh,
and I'm talking to you, and I'm like, what's happening right now? Like I could tell you had an attention and a focus. That ended up being the difference of the game. And I heard somebody in the talkback saying something along the lines of like that the energy in the stadium was gone, this and that. Brother, they had chances to win that game yesterday. I just hate this thing of the moment something goes wrong, the whole vibe is like, here we go again. They're not connected. One game's not connected to another. And I think the more that we continue to try to say, well, that's connected over that series.
It's funny. Well, it's kind of like the psyche of a fan base isn't the psyche of a team. Although sometimes the team will take on the characteristics of its fan base.
I agree.
And other times they won't, and they will buck that trend. But clearly, the fan base, or a San Diego sports fan, as you grew up as one, has a belief about the end result of their favorite team, whether you're a Chargers fan as a young person or a Padres fan or whatever your favorite team was. Oftentimes, it didn't end the way you hoped it would. Now, the players didn't grow up with that same mentality. Jackson Merrill's from Maryland.
Yep.
He had never attended a Padres game. We don't know if he's ever seen the San Diego Padres when they were the San Diego Chargers when they were the Chargers on television. But there are times where a team takes on the psyche of its fan base for whatever reason, and it is interesting to watch that play out.
But you're a good example on this. This isn't just a football.
No, it's not
baseball thing.
Right.
I think I got a buddy of mine So annoying sometimes. Love the guy to death. But I remember the SDFC run.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they're just going to lose it. It's a Sandy. I'm like, shut up.
Right, exactly.
And then when they do lose, because Vancouver was just better.
Right. They tie it back to like a Chargers playoff game.
That's what happens. That's what we do.
Right.
So and I'm sure
I agree.
I'm sure, and you probably watch this with the Aztecs, with SDSU. Anything attached, like if you're a San Diego sports fan, it's almost like you're looking for it to go wrong. Now I get it. You don't have this history of, well, this went our way and we won this World Series. And remember when the Chargers won in the Super Bowl, and like, I get that. I understand that. But
you're right. They're not tied.
They're not tied together. And I think that's the one thing that it's like, to me, if I'm being honest, is the thing that I'm most encouraged about. Every single year, it's like its own year. Every single game, it's its own game. And we got to kind of stop tying all this. Well, it's the curse of San Diego. No, there is no curse. That was one of my takeaways of the series against the Dodgers. Being at the game, obviously talking about it, 3-game set, looking at social media.
A little of the woe is me. Here we go again.
Stop.
Sky is falling.
And the only reason that happens is if that's what you believe.
Yeah, it's funny because, I mean, the truth is, when it comes to like professional sports in San Diego, you've had some really bad runs. The NBA was here twice. When the teams were here, they were bad.
Yeah.
The Chargers appeared in one Super Bowl among the 32 franchises. That's towards the bottom. Sure. The Padres all time have appeared in 2. Their last was 28 years ago.
Sure.
So it's like, I get it from a fandom perspective, but I completely agree that the team is not thinking that way. They're not. They shouldn't be. The team is not aware of the 1996 postseason with the San Diego Padres.
But I can take, like I got somebody here in the chat saying San Diego's a long history of teams failing below expectations. I know that.
Exactly.
I do.
You do.
However, losing 2 or 3 to the Dodgers or losing that game 5-4, that's my point. My point is I don't want to hear about here we go again on May 19th or May 20th because Mason Miller threw a ball a little bit that curved a little on Ty France.
I agree.
That's my point.
It's a good point. Let's hear from Craig Stammen on the other side on the status of Jackson Merrill moving forward. He tried to make a play on that Ohtani home run ball and then had discomfort apparently in his back and then missed the remainder of the game after his first plate appearance. So the update from Craig Stammen there. Plus, John Wilner, Bay Area News Group, a newsworthy week as it pertains to the Pac-12 of the Mountain West. What does it mean for San Diego State? We'll ask John Wilner coming up at 5:30. We're here until 6 p.m. We're giving away that 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair at 5:45 on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, SDFC is back at Snapdragon Stadium, of course, on Saturday night when they take on the Vancouver Whitecaps. Our coverage with Adrian and Darren begins at 6 p.m. on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760.
All right, I want to hear from Craig Stammen. I don't even know if I've heard this, truthfully. Craig Stammen on Jackson Merrill. He goes out due to injury. Like, that's significant. You said earlier, like, you can't deal with an injury right now. Like, you need Tatis in the lineup. Well, guess what? That means you need Jackson Merrill in the lineup.
They're thin.
So let's hear from Craig Stammen on Jackson Merrill, who left last night's game with an apparent back injury.
Yeah, Jackson's doing all right. He's getting testing done. We'll know more tomorrow and the next day.
Is your understanding what happened with Jackson?
It was when he was going up to rob the home run, the first pitch of the game. He just hit his back on the fence and just was feeling some discomfort in that area.
That first time you guys went out and talked to him, did you think maybe at that point you were taking him out? Did he talk his way in after he got?
Yeah, the swings he took, he was just grimacing and giving bad body language, and so just had to talk to him. And he's one of those kids, like, he's probably just never gonna let me. He's never gonna say I need to come out of the game. I have to personally take him out of the game, and so tried to let him gut it out a little bit, and it just even moving around the outfield didn't look right to me.
I'm the complete opposite, by the way. Like, if I hurt like my pinky, I'm like, I'm good. They're like, it doesn't impact the radio show, I don't think, John. I'm like, yeah, but it kind of like is a little tender.
I believe you.
Just a little.
I believe you.
I mean, I'm dead serious,
I believe you,
dude.
No, I believe
I'd have
it.
a huge ice pack. It'd be like, your finger looks fine.
You should come in with a neck brace.
Yeah, like, I thought you were your pinky. Why are you wearing a neck brace today?
Just in case. Got played safe.
I will say this, though. Merrill, with what the body language he was showing, that's concerning.
He was grimacing the whole time.
That's really concerning. Like, what could it possibly be? And not to speculate, but that is really concerning, I would say.
That was kind of I will say this, if you want me to breathe a little woe is me for a quick second.
Okay.
Bro, there's the first freaking pitch of the game.
Yeah.
Ohtani goes yard, Merrill gets hurt.
I hadn't thought of it that way until now. You're right.
I'm like, the game started 8 seconds ago.
Literally.
It's 1-0 and Merrill got hurt. That I had for like a moment there. I'm like, that's not possible.
It's so San Diego.
That's not possible.
20 minutes telling me.
I know.
It has nothing to do with San Diego sports.
No, but it was more just like, it's not the San Diego sports part, but it was just this bad luck. Here you are going into a game where you got a chance to beat the Dodgers in a series. And again, more importantly, just take 2 or 3 from anybody is a good series. You want to win every series. And again, like I said, you just kind of go back to that for a quick second. I'm like, did that just happen in the first 7.4 seconds of the game?
Are you worried about like when you swing and you grimace?
Yeah.
When you run and you grimace, like there's probably a reason as to why.
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, I'm crossing my fingers.
And they took him out of the game. And there's, some work being done to see, okay, hey, what's the issue? I think anytime that happens with a player, I mean, how could you not, how could you not be worried about that?
A little worried.
Yeah.
There was some news today. John Wilner is going to join us coming up at 5:30, Bay Area News Group. He's been all over the settlement talks between the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. And is the college football playoff going to expand? There's discussions of the Poinsettia Bowl in San Diego returning, and not just returning.
Really cool. I love this setup.
But pitting the Pac-12, the new Pac-12, with San Diego State and Boise State, Washington State, right? Against schools from the old Pac-12. We're talking about SC and UCLA and Arizona and Arizona State and so on and so forth. That in San Diego this winter, that could be a pretty unique bowl game, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, I think, look, I'm going to go back to what these since Riverwalk for me. Okay, I'm going to just give you an idea. So we did
the
Aztec Link, right? We did the event there and
charity golf tournament.
The charity golf tournament, and they're raising money, obviously for the athletic program. And when we sat there and we got a chance to talk to Sean Lewis, and I know for you this is something that you kind of do on a weekly basis or whatever the case is. I'm sure you did. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure he's running things by you real quick on the season coming up. But between getting a chance to obviously talk to Dutch, between the opportunity to talk to JD Wicker and just listening to what's happening with San Diego State and then how that ties into the Pac-12. And we talked about some things earlier in the week where the Pac-12 is revenue-wise. And now we're talking about this really unique event in San Diego where it could potentially be San Diego State in that game going up against the old Pac-12. Like, I love what's coming out of this so far. Maybe this is just me wanting things to go the right way, me wanting the Pac-12 to have success, me wanting to see successful things happen to San Diego State, football, basketball, and everything else. But some good momentum around the Pac-12 right now. There really is. Like, I think initially there's some nice momentum to start things off. I don't know where it's going to go, but initially it looks good.
Here's the other note, and John Wilner will join us in 6 minutes. San Diego State men's basketball today, finding out that in the Players Era Invitational in Las Vegas, that's now been played for 3 years if you include this upcoming version, San Diego State is going to open with Iowa State the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. They will then play either Maryland or Tennessee. By the way, Iowa State and Tennessee are two like top 15 preseason programs. They're two of the top 15 programs the last 5 years in college basketball. San Diego State would be included in there as well. And then they're either going to play Texas Tech, Louisville, Oregon, or St. John's as well in a third game. So if you like heavyweight men's basketball, once again, San Diego State's going to be in one of those events coming up this November in Vegas.
Great exposure for the program, and also opportunity to go get some W's early on, right? Like if San Diego State, and I don't need to tell you this, and this is what San Diego State basketball has built in the city of San Diego and around college basketball. They're considered one of the more elite programs in college basketball, and you can go get an upset or two early on. What it would do for the rest of your season. It's gonna be some fun games to be a part of.
That's how they made the NCAA tournament. Arguably 2 years ago, they beat Houston in the Players Era in Las Vegas. Houston would play for a national championship later that year. All right, John Wilner, Bay Area News Group, with more on the Pac-12 and the Mountain West and a reported settlement and what it means for San Diego State. He'll join us live coming up next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by the West Automotive Group. The Padres are off today. They start a weekend series with the A's tomorrow night down at Petco Park. In NBA news, Thunder forward Jalen Williams has been listed day-to-day with a hamstring injury, and they just went to break. Hold on 1 second. In New York, it's about 3.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Cleveland leads the Knicks at 20-19. And in NFL news, the Rams and MVP Matt Stafford have agreed on a 1-year, $55 million contract extension. West Automotive Group knows your time is valuable. That's why they make it easy to get your vehicle serviced or repaired with shuttle rides to and from your work or home and low-cost rental vehicles. Book an appointment today at westautomotivegroup.com.
All right, Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760 here until 6 p.m. Great to connect with John Wilner. Wilner Hotline. If you are a San Diego State fan of the Pac-12 or the Mountain West, he has some great writing on all things college athletics, specifically out west. And he's with us right now live on San Diego Sports 760. John, we appreciate you taking time for us. I wanted to start with the reported settlement. We saw the statement from both the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. We haven't seen terms or figures. I guess it's still going to play out in the days ahead, but what are your expectations for, just in general, what this settlement means for these two leagues?
Well, it kind of creates a little bit of a blank slate for both leagues, to go forward in their new form, right? They both are going to have Pac-12's kind of rising from the ashes, and the Mountain West has got a bunch of new members. And now this is behind them when football starts and when the college academic and athletic year begins in August. They don't have this hanging over the two conferences. But on a more practical basis, the big thing here is the money, right? How and what the terms were of the deal and what impact the money will have on the futures of the two leagues. And I think that's going to probably take some time to play out.
John, any idea? I mean, just kind of guessing here. Do we have any thoughts on what that dollar amount would be for the settlement?
Yeah, so there was $155 million basically at stake here. If you combine the Pac-12's poaching penalty lawsuit against the Mountain West for about $55 million and the Boise State, Utah State, Colorado State exit fee lawsuit against the Mountain West, which was about $100 million for those three schools plus San Diego and Fresno. So there's $155 million at stake. So they have a term sheet. There is no long-form contract or long-form settlement deal yet. So, things could probably change a little bit on the margins. We do not know. I have not been privy to the exact amount on the term sheet, but I have good reason to believe that the number is on the Pac-12's half of the spectrum. In other words, if you're going to figure a 50-50 split is roughly $75 million going to the Mountain West, I believe the amount is less than $75 million.
John Wilner with us right now on San Diego Sports 760. And maybe it's a little in the weeds, but did they have the leverage? Like, what were the elements that were playing out behind the scenes or as this drama has unfolded over the last 12 or 18 months that maybe put the Pac-12 legally or otherwise in a favorable position ultimately when this was coming together, this lawsuit?
Well, the Pac-12 has argued throughout that the poaching penalty that was included in the scheduling agreement, remember in the late fall of 2023, Washington State and Oregon State signed a scheduling agreement with the Mountain West for the 24 season, right? For however many games between the two teams. And the Mountain West stuck the poaching penalty fee in there. Basically $11 million for every school that leaves the Mountain West for the Pac-12. It's $11 million penalty. Pac-12 has maintained all along that was a violation of antitrust. And the Pac-12's got very good attorneys. And I think that ended up proving to be the case. Again, not having seen the term sheet and certainly not having seen the final version. Now, important to note, the biggest thing, the tell here is that in late March, the magistrate judge in Northern District of California ruled on behalf of the Pac-12 that the Mountain West had to turn over emails from its presidents that were relevant to this case. The Mountain West had claimed that they didn't have the jurisdiction to force their presidents to hand over emails in discovery. And the Pac-12's attorney said that's baloney because the Mountain West presidents are the board. They are the Mountain West. So, of course, their emails are relevant in discovery. And the judge in late March ruled in favor of the Pac-12 that the Mountain West president's emails were fair game. This settlement was put on the court document on Monday. I believe they reached the settlement late last week, but on Monday it was put on the document list. Tuesday was the first discovery hearing. So that tells me that they got to the deadline and it's time for discovery. And the Mountain West president said, we don't want our emails getting public. And so they reached a settlement. That is my takeaway based on the timing.
Very interesting, John. It's great insight right there. I'm curious to get your opinion on this. I mean, obviously, us here in San Diego, we're looking at the Pac-12. Of course, it's not the same Pac-12, but I'd love to just get your opinion. What do you think the potential is of the Pac-12 in general? And we don't have to be talking a year from now. You'd be talking 5 years down the road. I'm sure every school out here on the West Coast or just the chances of conference realignment again, potentially that happens. What do you think is the potential of the Pac-12?
Well, I mean, guessing what's going to happen in 2030 and beyond is
sure.
You're just kind of throwing darts at the board because nobody knows whether there's going to be a super league or another round of realignment. But certainly over the course of the Pac-12's contract, which is 5 years, I think the potential in football and the potential in basketball are a little bit different, right? The ceiling is higher in basketball, in my opinion, because of San Diego State and Gonzaga. Football, I think the Pac-12 could end up putting a team in the playoff, and that's kind of how we're going to judge things, in that 5 year span, two times, maybe three. I think that's what they're going to be aiming for, right? I mean, the American is the prime competition to get that spot. There's in the 12-team playoff, there is one spot reserved for the best team in the group of six. Now, if they go to 24, there may still only be one spot reserved for the group of six. I don't think that they're going to try to get two, and they're going to say, look, 1 and 12 is equal to 2 and 24. Let's be fair here. But the SEC and Big Ten aren't going to want to do that. So probably safe to assume that there's going to be one spot for the group of six in a 24-team playoff. But, I think the Pac-12's got a good chance to get 2 or 3 in 5 years. And that would be, it claims that it's the best of the group of six. And the playoff is the way to kind of just decide that issue. Basketball, I mean, it could be a really good basketball league. Not quite maybe as good as the Big East, but certainly it could be number 6. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
John Wilner, Bay Area News Group, Wilner Hotline with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. Here's a conversation almost as old as time. The idea that what does the settlement amount have to do with realignment in the West? Like what impact does it have on the current Mountain West schools like UNLV or Air Force? Or what could it mean for the Pac-12 if they don't have to pay as much as they thought they had previously? Can they use some of those resources to go out and find additional member schools moving forward? Is that still relevant or not as relevant moving forward? Like what this money is going to mean for the next version of like the next 12 months when it comes to realignment?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the money is certainly a big deal, and on two fronts, right? It's the amount of money that the Pac-12 is keeping in the poaching penalty instead of $55 million that's got to get passed over to the Mountain West. Let's pick a number. Maybe it's 20 or 25 million. So the Pac-12 is saving money that it can use either to support the schools or to try to go out and get new members. But the other piece is the Mountain West doesn't have as much as it thought it would to pay its schools. And it promised Air Force and UNLV, hey, we're going to, assuming A, B, and C, we're going to pay you X amount. Well, they're not going to be able to pay UNLV and Air Force what those schools thought they were going to get. I don't think. Again, this is just what I've heard from some sources. I haven't seen it. I don't think they're going to be able to pay UNLV and Air Force the full amount that those schools were told they would receive. Now, what impact will that have? Will that cause UNLV to say, you know what, we're done with the Mountain West. We want to join. The Mountain West has not fulfilled its contractual obligations to us. We want to join the Pac-12. I'm not sure that's going to happen. I think UNLV really wants to be in the Mountain West because they think that the best way to get into the Power Four is going to be the big fish in the small pond in the Mountain West and dominate a lesser league than the Pac-12 and get into the playoff and the NCAA tournament and all that. And that's how they're going to get in the Big 12 or wherever eventually. I think that is a gross miscalculation on their part. I think it was insane to pass up a chance to join the Pac-12 if you're UNLV, but they did it and they passed on the chance twice. And I don't know that the not getting the amount they were promised by the Mountain West is going to change their minds.
John, the return of the Poinsettia Bowl, how do you view that? Is this a win for the new Pac-12 to have a game, obviously play a game against the legacy Pac-12 teams? How do you view that portion for the conference?
Yeah, I think it's a huge win because any chance the new Pac-12 has to beat the legacy schools is a huge opportunity to prove itself on the field because there aren't going to be that many chances, in terms of the non-conference games during the season. So yeah, and the thing is they need bowls because, just with the way the old Pac-12 and Mountain West have been realigned, it's a tough situation for them, right? There was this coming season, nothing's changed with the Power Four, but where the change has taken place is the Mountain West and the new Pac-12. So they're trying to keep the bowl structure the way it is because the Power Four is not changing, but they had to do something to accommodate the realignment with the Mountain West and the Pac-12, and the Poinsettia Bowl is kind of the answer to that problem. And I mean, if it gives San Diego State a chance to play and beat, Utah or Washington, or gives Boise a chance to beat, UCLA or Arizona State, that's huge for the conference.
John, great reporting and insight. We appreciate you taking time for us in San Diego. I feel as if are we going to get, I have to ask this before you go, will there be terms of the settlement? Does that have to be made public? And if so, when would we expect those terms?
My understanding is, based on what I was told by an attorney, is that it's a confidential agreement that does not necessarily have to be made public. I don't know for sure. I also am not 100% sure if there's a difference in that interpretation based on which state your school's in terms of public records. But I think that there is a good chance that we will never see the actual term sheet or the long-term contract. However, these that dollar amount, I would guess the dollar amount will, at least a close approximation, will get leaked at some point. I'm certainly trying to report that situation, but are they going to make the actual the settlement itself public? I don't think that's the case.
That's fascinating. John, appreciate your time, and we look forward to doing it again at some point soon.
Great stuff, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Great stuff from John Wilner.
That's
we can react
insight.
to that.
Yeah.
On the other side, again, we're here until 6 p.m. We've got a winner of the 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, and we'll share that with you on the other side. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Schaefer and Sliwa, let's get a winner. Then we've got some NFL news related to the LA Rams that we're going to share with you coming up in a moment. But let's get a drum roll and a winner of a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair from Brent. Alan, do you remember the name of the winner?
I do not.
Pack of tickets
you
to
do.
the San Diego County Fair. I believe I have this right.
Okay.
And I believe the correct name of the winner is Jeremy. How about that? Let's get the applause for Jeremy. Jeremy, you are going to the fair. Once upon a fair, there was a tale of food, fun, friends, family, laughter, tradition, music, amazement, and more. The San Diego County Fair, the biggest and longest running event in San Diego County, makes its return June 10th through July 5th, closed Mondays and Tuesdays. Visit sdfair.com to plan your happily ever after.
All right, good work from Jeremy. Good work from everybody all week so far that's been a part of this talk back. We'll have one more tomorrow and one more giveaway tomorrow for the San Diego County Fair. But shout out to everybody we've got a ton of these that have come in, so we're just trying to pick and choose the best we can.
All right, the developing story from Adam Schefter is that Matt Stafford has been extended 1 year by the Rams, and he will get a $55 million extension, which means he's got 2 years on his deal, now worth $105 million. There was the animosity with the draft pick this past April. Well, is it tied to Stafford getting that extra year? I don't know. But Matt Stafford, it sounds like, will be with the Rams not just one season, but 2 upcoming seasons.
Yeah, they use that number 13 pick to draft Ty Simpson, a quarterback, kind of like the eventual successor of Matthew Stafford. It's kind of funny. Like, I grew up, and I think we all did, right? Where it was very, very normal to draft a quarterback and give them a couple of years to develop.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Brees was the quarterback here in San Diego. Phillip Rivers was waiting in the wings. And it was common. This isn't like something that was that was the proper way of doing it. Brett Favre was there. Eventually Aaron Rodgers came in, and I know that this has been made a big deal, and part of that big deal was because the Rams they got a legitimate chance to win another Super Bowl. Obviously, let's just say their head coach wasn't too excited when he was asked about their draft pick.
It was comical.
It was comical. The whole thing was comical. But the idea and the concept, like, think about if you're Ty Simpson, you went to a good franchise that clearly knows what they're doing. You got Sean McVay there. And, oh, by the way, you got Matthew Stafford there, who's yet to be the quarterback for the next couple of years. Like, you can just kind of watch under his wings. But there's just this pressure always. You got to win right now. You got to win right now. And I think they screw up a lot of the future of these quarterbacks by not letting them properly develop. They just throw them in the fire.
Interesting. Yeah, there has been a lot more of that in modern NFL, where, to your point, whether it was like a situation in San Diego, obviously the more, the well-known one with Aaron Rodgers, he sat behind Brett Favre for 3 seasons.
Was it 3?
3 seasons? 3 seasons in Green Bay before getting that opportunity.
By the way,
later
Jordan,
a 4-time MVP.
Jordan Love. I don't know how long Love was there, but Love was also drafted, and there was controversy about that. It's like, what is that signal to Aaron Rodgers?
I don't know what the terms used to look like of the CBAs in like the 90s and the 2000s, but right now the CBA basically says with the young quarterbacks, like, go win when they make no money, so to speak, because once they're off that rookie deal and Patrick Mahomes goes from $4 million a year to $64 million a year, that's impacting our ability to win.
Of course.
And I wonder if by playing Mahomes after 1 year as opposed to 2 is giving you 1 additional year with more cap resources.
That's the problem. The problem is there's only one Mahomes.
Yeah, of course.
So you got so many of these quarterbacks that are thrown into the fire, and they're not ready to be star NFL quarterbacks.
Completely.
That's the issue.
And by the way, even the pick they just made, the Rams, Ty Simpson, you said 13th overall. Is anyone fully convinced that this will even be the next quarterback of the Rams? Maybe you'll have a better chance to do it by developing behind Stafford.
You better do it 13th is such a high draft pick.
But it's like, you have a 38-year-old. Like the picture that Schefter tweeted out, like he's not a kid anymore, Matt Stafford. The 38-year-old, the belief is with Rams fans, and maybe with Sean McVay, their head coach, is we're a piece or 2 away.
Of course.
And you just drafted something for not right now.
1,000%.
So it'll be interesting to see how good they are.
I get that. I understand that whole thing. The only thing I would just say to that is, and listen, the Rams, it feels like, have done things the right way in LA.
Yep.
But if Sean McVay, let's just say Sean McVay is the one that didn't like it, all of this started when Sean McVay was named the head coach. So Les Snead, who's their general manager, I got confidence that the Rams know what they're doing. But if Sean McVay doesn't like it, I pause because McVay is what kind of got this whole thing started.
Completely agree. What do you got, Brett?
In terms of Simpkins, it just shows you how quick things can change. Because look back even like 6 years ago, they thought their quarterback of the future was Jared Goff. Matt Stafford wasn't even on the Rams' radar. He was a Detroit Lion, and Goff took him. They thought he was going to be the man. And then all of a sudden they decided, nope, we're going to move on from him and go on. So who knows if Simpkins will even be here in 3 years.
I think, Brian, here's the only thing with the Jared Goff thing. They thought he could be the man until they realized he can't get us over the top.
Right.
They did as best as they could with Goff. And once they realized we can't win a Super Bowl with Goff, they went and got a guy that they thought they could win a Super Bowl with, and they cashed in.
Yeah, it worked out. It is amazing, though, in the NFL that a sport that has the rosters are massive, way bigger than Major League Baseball, way bigger than the NBA, way bigger than the NHL. You know what it comes down to? Having the right 7 quarterbacks. That if you don't have one of those 7 individuals on your team with a 55-person roster and practice squad and these huge organizations, it's going to be very hard to win.
Or you have to have it's got to be a perfect storm.
Yeah, Seattle actually was a pretty perfect storm, truthfully.
But that you can still have a phenomenal defense, and you can still have things that maybe go your way, but you got to have a quarterback that obviously it can at least steer this thing. Can I just mention one thing here? Because I know I've heard Brent say it as well. We don't know the details of it, but how crazy is this Kyle Busch story?
At 41 years of age, he had raced and won just over a week ago, and passing away unexpectedly, was hospitalized with a serious illness and then passing away. Terribly sad news. A 41-year-old, take it away from the sporting element of it.
Hospitalized earlier in the day as the result of a severe illness.
And a week ago, he
just won the truck race a week ago.
And a week ago, he said at the end of that truck race, "Get me medical attention because I'm sick." He said that's on the correspondence or whatever. Hey, I need medical attention. I'm sick. But I think he tied it to a sinus at the time. Now, I don't know if this a week and a half later is tied to that or not.
And if you combine all 3, the Truck Series, the Nationwide, and then the actual Cup Series,
he's one of the winningest ever. Right?
He is the winningest. He has more victories than anybody.
He's 41 and the most victories in the history of those sports combined. That is awful terribly sad.
Very
news.
sad. Very sad.
Yeah, Kyle Busch gone at the age of 41. Terribly sad story out of the world of sports here today. We are back tomorrow. Kevin Ace, your Padres Insider, will join us. Padres have the A's. We'll get the A's perspective coming up tomorrow as well. Weekend series kicking off. Star Wars.
From Vegas or Oakland?
I don't know. Sacramento, maybe. I'm not even sure.
I don't know.
Star Wars weekend down at Petco Park, by the way, as well. I'm sure me and Alan will be there for that. All right. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app. Back tomorrow at 3 for Brent and Alan. I'm John. This is Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Have a good night.